The following is a special presentation of Extreme eSpeed TV, your new home for everything iRacing and eSpeed.
Welcome to the Dirt Track, as Charlotte is the Coast to Coast Racing League, and it is the Chris Yaklin Memorial Super Dirt Week charity event supporting veterans in Mission 22. This is an Extreme eSpeed TV Coast to Coast Racing League and Catalytic Recovery special event. I am Travis Piercefield of Extreme eSpeed TV, and joining me up in the booth tonight is Nicholas Vickery. Nicholas, this is a great event, but what do we have in store here tonight in Charlotte?
You know, Charlotte has definitely produced some great racing over the years, and you know, when Roger messaged me earlier in the week and asked me if I wanted to come and speak, you know, I couldn't turn it down. But it's a great cause, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot of great racing tonight.
So we have a busy night here. It's night number one of the Super Dirt Week charity event. We have 358 modified qualifying, big block modifying. We have a veterans and first responders qualifier. We have a volunteer qualifier, and then we have our 358 modified 20-lap heats, and then we'll conclude the evening with big blocks 20-lap heats as well. 6 cars will transfer. How important is it to try to get into that big show here tonight, Nicholas?
Yeah, you know, it definitely takes a lot of pressure off of you as a driver to make it early, and you know, I heard that there's also going to be a dash, I think, tomorrow. So, you know, if you can get a good qualifying spot tonight and not have to worry about racing your way in, then it definitely takes a lot of pressure off your back.
So we see the cars out now in this practice session. It's Salas, Reynolds, Hine, Grandy, and Ross, your top 5 fastest. What are some names here tonight you expect to be good here in the 358s?
Yeah, you know, a lot of the ones that you just named, you know, I remember back racing in the league, you know, a lot of those guys were always really fast. And you know, I think there's a bit, you'll see different names between the 358 and the big block races. You know, some guys are faster in the 358s, and some definitely excel in the big blocks.
Well, our qualifying session is going to come at us quickly here as cars are getting out on the track. That's Brandon Templeton out there on the track. He's someone that you'll probably hear throughout the night. Harold Klump out there as well. When you have a big event like this, Nicholas, and you're coming out here for qualifying to get your night started, what are you trying to do besides the obvious of trying to put down a good lap?
Yeah, you know, I think in the first couple of races, we might even see some cases of some nerves coming into play. You know, the 358s are really, really finicky, so if you don't keep them straight in the corner, you can definitely lose a lot of speed on a track this size.
So Templeton gets his lap down. A lot of cars here, over 50 cars here with the 358s tonight. So exciting there as all of this. Supporting veterans in Mission 22 this week. Of course, appreciate all our sponsors as they're down there in that lower left corner, but also Catalytic Recovery as the presenting sponsor this week. We give them a huge shout out for their support. And just like that, Nicholas, we've got 33 cars with times out on the track.
Yeah, it's going to happen really, really fast here in qualifying. You know, I don't think anybody wants to waste any time, and they definitely want to get in the car and, you know, try and turn some laps, you know, kind of get in their groove and get ready for the rest of the night.
So it's Templeton, Schatzer, Grandy, Reynolds, Barker, your top 5. If you watch much of the Coast to Coast Racing League, those are all names that you hear each and every week, if not each and every night. 42 cars now complete. As Templeton continues to hold on lap, you can see the close times. Top 10 all within 700ths of each other.
Yeah, you know, Lawson just jumped up to the top as well. I can't quite make out the time, but you know, him and Salas jumped up there. Now Salas jumps to second as well. So, you know, a lot of the guys that qualified early, They wanted to get it out of the way, and now the guys that are coming in late, maybe a strategy thing. I always heard rumors that if you go out late, the track's a little bit different. So, it's interesting to see some of these later guys now jumping to the top of the board.
Well, essentially, Lawson, Salas, Templeton all ran the same time there up at the top three. Chapman only 100th of a second behind them. As we've got the final few, it looks like maybe a handful of cars still out there making their first time of the night.
Yeah, it looks like Siegel. I can't quite make out the name there in second. It'll be interesting to see what line these guys are running. I remember in the charity event here last year, or I think it was last year or year before. The 358s, all of the times were so tight, and there was really one line that was really dominant at the beginning, but there at the end, the track kind of opened up. So it'll be interesting to see how the track wears in.
That's Beagle moving up in there. The top four now all essentially the same time. Brennan Lacey, one of the last qualifiers here. He's someone we're used to in the Coast to Coast Racing League. So see where he can jump up to. As he's 12th fastest, so just outside the top 12 as he completes his final lap. It was 3 laps here in qualifying. We'll do this all over again here shortly in the big blocks. As it looks like Logan Wentz is the only driver yet to make it out there. As Lacey will finish up his time. And I think that's a good point. There's a lot of racing on this track tonight. It will be interesting to see, especially with that 20-lap heat race. What happens to the track out there is Brennan Lacey will end up 12th fastest.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what they're going to do with the track state either, because if the heat races are in different sessions, the track may reset after each heat race. We may not see a whole lot of track wear for the 358s with it only being 20 laps. But, there's still going to be quite a few cars in that heat race, though, so it should still be pretty exciting.
Should be, indeed, as it looks like our qualifying session here will come. Oh, one more driver out there jumped out onto the track. That's Mike Kramer. We'll watch him as he makes his lap. His first lap was 49th fastest, a 16.73. He's way up against that wall there in 3 and 4. As we go through these heat races, Nicholas, how does this track, for especially these 358s, what does it normally do, and where is that preferred line as you go through an evening?
Yeah, I think early in the evening and, when the track state's relatively fresh, I think you'll see a lot of guys trying to run the very, very bottom or possibly a lane to a lane and a half off the bottom, trying to keep the car straight as they can. I know a lot of the guys in qualifying, when you're coming off 4 for your green flag lap, you want to be on the high side trying to get as much momentum coming on the straightaway as possible. And I think we'll see that in some of the restarts as well. You'll see some guys up top, and then they'll immediately drop to the bottom, getting into 1.
So it looks like our qualifying session here come to a close here shortly. Logan Wentz was still the only driver here tonight that did not make a time here in this qualifying session. And as mentioned, we'll move on to those big block modifieds next for their qualifying session. So Nicholas, I know you took a step back from iRacing as much as you had in the past. How's it feel to be back up in the booth and to see these little cars back out on the track?
Yeah, when Roger messaged me, it was kind of exciting because, I kind of get to go back and kind of reminisce and see a bunch of the old names and watch some of the guys that, I would pull for and some of the guys that I battled really hard with, back on the track. And I'm really, really excited about the next 3 nights.
Should be exciting. As you mentioned that we have our night of racing here tonight. It's qualifying night. Tomorrow we have our last chance showdown and pole scrambles. And then, of course, championship night on Thursday, which you'll be in the booth. We'll also have Andy Pierceville joining us up here in the booth on Thursday night. So that is a 358 75-lap championship feature. And then the night and week conclude with the Big Block Modified 100-lap championship feature event. Championship payouts: first place gets 50 and a trophy, 40 to second, 30 to third, 20 to fourth, and 10 to fifth place. Also, when you look at big events like this, Nicholas, besides the money, besides the trophy, being able to say you beat 50, 60 other guys in an event like this, that has to be enough to be proud of after a week of racing.
Yeah, all of the special events that Coast to Coast puts on, the majority of them, they open up to anybody with an iRacing account, right? So, not only are you racing against the guys that you battle with every week, but you're also racing against guys that are maybe are coming here to prove a point or coming here to try to race for the money. And, if you were to win that as a Coast to Coast driver, it just means so much more than just winning one of the weekly races, because you know that you beat guys that aren't even in the league.
Could that, especially, I've seen it in some other races that we've called, especially when you have guys coming from other leagues, maybe you don't get to race as much. Very quickly, you can see who maybe is coming into the league that's new, that has some skill set. When you go through a week and you're able to compete or even beat a driver from another league that has a lot of talent, how does that make you feel throughout the race and the weekend?
Yeah, it definitely makes you feel really good, because, you race against the same guys week in and week out. And, yes, it's awesome to have battles with those guys. But, at least for me in the past, I always viewed it as I'm a Coast to Coast driver trying to represent for Coast to Coast as well. Right. And, through all that, we also have to remember that, not only are you racing against these guys and trying to perform well, but you're also doing it for a great cause.
Well, with that, great cause this week for sure. Thanks to all our sponsors. We have Valhalla Mobile, A&J Custom Creations, Flatline Racing Bodies, Mauer Farm Management, Epsilon Sprint Wraps, Velocity Race Design, Young Gun Creations, Raven Race Graphics, ABR Setup Shop, all supporting our Super Dirt Car Week charity, including Cadillac Recovery, here for our Chris Yacklin Memorial Super Dirt Car or Dirt Week charity event. Of course, supporting veterans and Mission 22. Well, with that, Nicholas, it looks like our small blocks here are going to come to an end. It's going to be Brian Lawson, Ryan Beagle, Salas, Templeton, and Chapman, your top five. Any surprises up there at the top of the charts?
No, all of those guys were always really, really fast, when I would run them in the past. And, even beyond the top five, there's still a lot of fast guys there in the top 10, so I think the top six lock in, right, from qualifying?
Yep. Top six will automatically lock in. The rest still have some work to do. So with that, Nicholas, we're going to move on to the big block modified qualifying session. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we will have big block qualifying here on the Coast to Coast Racing League Network.
History repeats itself. History is always happening over and over again. So one of the ways to stop a theme, one of the ways to stop something from reoccurring is to first of all admit it. It didn't take long for us to quickly realize that there was power behind Mission 22, power behind its brand, power behind its message, and power behind its people that represented it.
All right, my friends, day 19 of 22, the 22-day push-up challenge. Day 19 means 418 men and women have possibly committed suicide in the last 19 days. I went and looked up my ship, the USS Rushmore. More people who have killed themselves by now than ever served on our ship at one time in just 19 days.
19, 20, 21. One more. Y'all ready for the last one?
Mission 22 has become a decentralized nationwide effort to show love, to raise money, to be available for other warriors, to be able to be a point of contact, to let the warriors know, but also for warriors to let other warriors know that there is a community. You're not alone. This isn't happening in silence. You're not forgotten. We brought 4 veterans from all different parts of the United States and brought them together to hike through the state of Oregon.
May God bless you on your journey. Thank you for serving our country and for being willing to go on this walk. I'm praying you feel peace and strength with each mile.
On this hike, some folks found God, some folks remained sober, some folks lost a significant amount of weight to be able to participate. And not so much just a healing walk for us as warriors, but for us to contribute to other people's healing. This hike, we raised $12,000 for endobiogeny. Some of the folks on this hike, they're going to be volunteers for this treatment. And I couldn't be more pleased and more proud because it was difficult. We had a lot of struggles. Not everything on this hike went pretty. But we put some skin in the game. At the end of the day, we're able to raise money, and we'll be able to use that money so guys can get the treatment that they need. The War at Home Monument is an example of our social impact, of our awareness, of our permanent fixture to do the work that we can't always do, to always remind us of what we've lost and what we will lose if we don't reconcile it. And what we've done is taken 20 different veterans with their families' permission and used them as a silhouette to cut out of a 3,000-pound plate of steel. These warriors are placed in a V, and this is to show the size of the problem. This is to show the empty space they leave behind. And it's also to be a constant reminder of what happens when we don't listen to the stories of the warriors that fought in our name. Because it's not okay. It's not okay.
Welcome back to the dirt track at Charlotte as we get ready to go here with our big block modified 3-lap qualifying session. So Nicholas, we get the big blocks out here. A lot of the same names we just saw with the small blocks. What's going to be different from a qualifying standpoint between those two types of vehicles?
Yeah, going from the 358s to the big blocks back to back like this with, virtually no time in between them. It'll be interesting to see if we see some of the same names at the top. These cars have a lot more power, and well, even on a fresh track, it's pretty easy to spin the tires. And like I said, with no time between the practice sessions and the qualifying sessions, guys may not be in that rhythm, that they would normally be in on a normal race time.
So we get back to racing action here shortly with the big block modifieds. So practice session here coming to a close. See who can be fastest here with the big block modifieds.
And I think what we'll see guys on their out lap. I think they'll be running the top, trying to get the momentum up coming on the straightaway, like I mentioned in the last session. And then I think you'll still see guys trying to run maybe a lane or two higher. But again, with the track state being as fresh as it is, I think you'll see guys trying to keep the car straight through the middle of the corner, so they'll turn in really hard and try to drive easy off. I think that'll produce a pretty good lap here.
Well, we will see as we get ready here. Should be coming up quickly. We'll show those times here in this practice session. Grandy, Schatzer, Salas, Hunsinger, and Graham. So some different names here with the big blocks, as we still have plenty of cars to go. Currently 50 cars here getting ready as our practice session will come to a close, and we'll move on to that 3-lap qualifying session, and it will be coming at us quickly again here with plenty of cars getting out on the track, getting those times and setting themselves up here early in this week and this event. Watch the 68 of Aaron Turkey out there. When it comes to qualifying in a group setting like this, Nicholas, what's kind of your strategy? Are you someone that jumps out there early or kind of waits? What's your strategy behind that?
Yeah, I try to look at the times that are coming in, because most of the time for the big charity events, guys will practice throughout the week, just trying to get prepared. I tend to hang back. I try to wait till about 2 or 3 minutes into the session before I actually get on the track. It kind of gives me a good idea of what kind of times guys are running, and then based on the practice time that I put in, it allows me to know roughly where guys are running to be able to achieve those times. And again, it only takes one mistake in one corner, and you qualify 15th or 20th. So it doesn't take a whole lot, especially with this caliber of driver. So you definitely want to get out there and make at least one clean lap and try to get near the top.
As we watch cars continue to go around, 25 with times very quickly, now up to 28. As it's Isaac Salas atop the charts, Joseph Grandy second fastest, Jeff Barker fourth fastest. Watching Jonathan Krupa out there making his lap.
You know, and it kind of goes back to the field because the top 10 you're only separated by what 2/10 from first to 10th, so there's not a whole lot of breathing room. It looks like 4 guys have the same time, 16:07. So really, really tight field here in the top 10.
Kurt Schatzer's completed his lap. Dan McLaren out there as well. It's also, when you have a group setting like this, you could turn a lap early and what looks like a good time. By the time you make it back around, 20 more guys have gone out and beat your time.
Yeah, this many guys. I think that kind of goes back to why I like to wait, because I wanna know roughly where I am after lap 1 and try to identify really quickly what mistakes I made in that lap to fix them for the next one.
Watching Blake Chapman out there as well as cars continue their laps. Luke Hines and his 17 machine. Top 5, it's Salas, Grandy, Sharp, Barker, Spies. As our laps continue to come in, almost 3 minutes into the session, as it appears everyone has at least entered the track. We have a few cars still finishing up their timed laps. As you see, Kyle Moonen, one of the last drivers to get a time in. So we saw the top 10 especially, Nicholas, very tight with their timed laps. This one has a little bit more space throughout. Is there any reason between the small block and the big block what may have caused that?
As far as the total split time between the field?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's mainly due to the power in the big block. If you come off the corner a little bit too hard in the big block, you'll either jack the car sideways a little bit coming off the corner, or you'll spin the tires, and all of that equals lost time. So I think here in the top 30, it's what 30th is 16:21 I think for a time, and 16:30 for 40th. So I mean, you're still all within 3-4 tenths of each other. So I mean, it's still really, really tight considering what what these guys are out here doing.
Well, joining us now, our third fastest car here in the big blocks, it's Jeff Sharp. Jeff, kind of walk us through your lap there, and what does it mean here, big group of cars being able to be amongst the fastest here in the big blocks?
That's a lot of pressure off. I wish I could have done that in the 358s.
We were just talking about that. When you have the small block qualifying and then you have the big block, what's the difference? What can lead to a better lap in one versus the other for you especially?
I'm typically better in the big blocks. It seems like a little mistake will hurt you a lot more in the 358s, and you kind of got to be tedious with it.
Well, great lap here in the big block. What does that do for your week here, and what are you looking forward to here the next 3 nights?
Well, kind of going to miss running the heats for these race cars, but I'm looking forward to being in the feature. That's good. It's a good sign.
Is from that standpoint, skipping over the heats, is that an advantage or a disadvantage as you go through a week like this?
It's a disadvantage for me. Some guys like it, but I would rather race more.
Well, great lap, Jeff. It was fun to watch you out there in the big block. Any sponsors you want to give a shout out to tonight?
Just want to thank you guys for putting this on. It's very much appreciated.
Well, that is our third fastest qualifier here in the big blocks, Jeff Sharp. As Nicholas, you have our second fastest car, Joseph Grandy.
Hey, Justin.
How you doing?
So kind of walk us through your lap a little bit and kind of explain what was going through your mind as you put that lap in and maintained second here in qualifying.
The usual. I'm pretty comfortable at Charlotte. I know where to run. I was a little disappointed in my 358 lap, but I was 90% sure I'd get a top 6 lap, and yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
So what does it mean to you now, knowing that you don't have to race your way in and you're locked in and you get to race tomorrow in the pole shuffle?
It means I get to relax a little bit. Don't got to worry about the heat races or any of the random stuff that can happen, and do the pole shuffle, see what happens, and then go on to the race. It's a long race. Anything can happen, but hopefully I have a little bit of luck on my side.
All right. Well, definitely congratulations on that second place lap for locking yourself in. You got any sponsors you want to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Catalytic Recovery, West End Towing and Repair, all the guys over at Training Wheels Racing. I'd like to give out a shout out to my father. He's putting in a dirt game for this Super Dirt Series here. And I'd like to thank you guys for doing the broadcast, Coast to Coast, Mission 22, and really about it.
All right. Thank you, Joseph. And again, congratulations on that 1598 to lock you in for the feature.
Thanks, guys.
Now joining us up in the booth, it's our fastest qualifier here in the Big Block Modifieds. It's Isaac Salas. Isaac, you put down a great lap there. How's it feel to be locked in and skip over these upcoming heat races?
Very, very happy about it. Anything can happen in those heats. It's gonna be quite a blast to watch them tonight. Just happy that I'm not gonna be in them.
So you get to look ahead, especially the Big Block Modified, the 100 lap feature event. That's a long race here. How do you prepare for that, and what's going to be your strategy going into that, especially with a good starting spot?
Well, I mean, when the track is fresh, it's a piece of cake, but you got to learn to have some patience there about halfway through, probably, with the amount of cars we're going to have. I remember the last year that we did this, I was actually leading it, and then patience was not my friend at that time. Didn't really know who they were, and kind of cost me that race. So just learn from my mistakes last year and try to just be clean.
When you're used to 30 lap features and now all of a sudden you've got a big feature event that's over 3 times as long, looking at your driving style, does that affect it in any way? Does it play to an advantage? Kind of how do you prepare for that race at that length differently?
I think the big thing would probably not to be drinking as much beers like I usually do. Because then usually I'm having to go to the bathroom halfway through, and then I'm all antsy on top of being antsy over the race. But yeah, like once you actually start getting into those races, you just kind of have to have this mindset of like, I need to make it to the end. Like as much fun as it is racing really hard because you can go super fast in the first 30 laps, I mean, you still have 70 more laps, so you got to take it slow. You got to be patient. And yeah, like I said, just be clean, because I mean, that little bit of damage at the beginning of the race because you want to be greedy is going to come and haunt you when these guys come up with just this, with their car being perfect.
Well, it was a fast lap, a good night here in qualifying for you. Any sponsors you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, definitely shout out to all those guys over at Venom Racing. We put up some quick times tonight, so I'm excited to see kind of how their night goes with them. And congrats to Brian on that pole position in 358s. Dean, the Super Dirt Car Series, Magnum Race Designs with him, with those guys for that beautiful car. Got Your Six Racing Network, RSN Trackside, Simtrax Broadcasting, all the guys over at Dirt Track Bank. Mission 22, and that, everything they're doing for this event and everything that they do for our veterans in general. It's amazing. You guys really need to check them out. I mean, we have so much stuff in the broadcast about them, but if you don't know that much about them, you got to check them out because they're amazing. My Gramps and Top Notch Trucking, thank you guys for the broadcast. Thanks to Nick. Glad to see you're out of retirement at least a little bit. And then, yeah, just thanks to everybody here in Coast to Coast. Thanks to my friends, my family, and then everyone that supports me, I guess.
Well, great lap tonight, Isaac. We look forward to seeing what you do on Thursday night.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That's Isaac Salas, your quick time here with the Big Block Modifieds. And with that, Nicholas, qualifying is done. We are going to move on to our Veterans and First Responders qualifier, where one transfer spot is up for grabs. We will be back here quickly here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network as you are watching our Chris Yacklin Memorial Super Dirt Week charity event here on Extreme E Speed TV.
I am Sergeant Clay Warren. I suffered from PTSD. In 2013, I ended my own life. Now my voice has been brought back to speak to people like me. Know that you're not the only one. Things can get better. You don't have to carry that burden anymore. Speak up now to get the help that you need.
22 veterans end their lives every day. You just heard the reconstructed voice of one of them. Seek help at mission22.com.
One, two, three. I love it, Molly.
They say it's a matter of time, 1,000 days and the sun won't shine before I come back to you. For your love I will go far, I wanna be wherever you are. I know I'm coming back for you.
Brother, it's good to see you.
My love is a river long, the best ride in a million wrongs. I know I'm coming back to you. And I'm happy, nothing's going to stop me. And I'm happy, nothing's going to stop me. I'm making my way home, I'm making my way.
I am Sergeant Clay Warren. I suffered from PTSD. In 2013, I ended my own life. Now my voice has been brought back to speak to people like me. Know that you're not the only one. Things can get better. You don't have to carry that burden anymore. Speak up now to get the help that you need.
22 veterans end their lives every day. You just heard the reconstructed voice of one of them. Seek help at mission22.com.
Welcome back to the dirt track at Charlotte, as it is Chris Yacklin Memorial Super Dirt Week charity event supporting veterans and Mission 22. Of course, Coast to Coast Racing League and Catalytic Recovery presenting our charity week here. And we have our first responders and veterans race here, Nicholas. Looks like we've got 5 cars here, but the important thing is one of these guys is going to lock them into that feature event.
Yeah, you know, for one of these guys, it takes a lot of pressure off of them. And, you know, these guys, you know, they're going to race just as hard as the rest of the heat races we're going to see tonight. So, you know, it may be a smaller car count than what we see in the remainder of the heats, but it's not going to be any less racing. You know, these guys want to make it in just as bad. So if they could do it here and not have to fight as hard in a heat race or try to do anything crazy in a heat race, then, you know, definitely they're going to try and do it here.
So we have them out on the track right now warming up, which looks like it's finishing up. Of course, our first responders and veterans, so thankful for everything they do and how it affects all of us, but most importantly, a thank you to them and the sacrifices they make, as it looks like we have our starting lineup here, Nicholas. It's going to be Mark Gilbert alongside Jeff Barker. Row number 2, Brian Lawson next to Stephen Maurer. And then it's going to be Bob DeGood rounding out the field. With the cars we have in this, anyone jump out to you as maybe a favorite?
You know, I definitely think Barker and Lawson are going to be battling pretty hard here. You know, they're starting almost front to back of each other. They're not quite. They're in opposite lanes. But, you know, I think anybody in this race can definitely pull it off. And like I said, I think we'll see some guys definitely fighting really hard to come from the back. You know, I know DeGood, he was really good back when I ran in the league, and like I said, anybody can win this one.
So we will get lined up here. 20 laps will get us started here from a racing action standpoint. And our first 20 lap race of the evening. So of course that Stephen King Foundation pace truck out front as always here with the Coast to Coast Racing League. And with a field this size, 20 laps, Nicholas, how can this play out?
Yeah, so I think it'll either go one of two ways. Either they'll string out or they'll be right on top of each other the whole time. And, you know, makes you wonder if maybe they might spice it up and throw like a competition caution if they end up spreading out quite a bit.
So they will get lined up as they do 2x2 through 3 and 4 for the final time. They'll get that green flag this time by as they come out of turn number 4. It's Gilbert Barker leading us to green, and we are racing from Charlotte.
And, you know, it's really, they're already running very, very different lines between the entire field.
You got Mark Gilbert there in the middle, Lawson and Barker side by side. And with, with the small block, Nicholas, how 20 laps, you're in a small block modified. At what point and what position do you kind of have to start making your way up towards the front if you want a chance?
You know, if the cars end up spreading out, you definitely want to be as close as you can. You know, everybody's staying pretty close to each other right now. They're all, you know, within probably 2 or 3 tenths of each other. So, you know, you definitely want to be close enough to strike. And that's the thing with 358s is they don't have quite as much power. So if you do fall behind, there's not a whole lot you can do to try to catch up to a pack like this.
Well, we have great racing action here for the lead as it's Lawson and Barker side by side, 17 laps to go. As now Gilbert settles into that third position. Lawson down on the inside, Barker to the outside. It's going to be that outside momentum pulling Barker to the lead that time by.
Yeah, you know, I think Gilbert's kind of sitting back just, you know, hoping the two guys in front of him make a mistake. You know, when they're running side by side like that, that doesn't leave anywhere for Gilbert to really go. And the fact that Barker and Lawson are running side by side with each other, it kind of slows them down a little bit for the guy in third to be able to catch him.
Well, Gilbert's pulled up alongside Lawson now for second as Barker will take full control over that lead. 14 laps to go this time by.
You know, I know we said in the beginning it was 20 laps, but these laps go by really, really fast, even in the 358. So, you know, the guys that are maybe running third, fourth, and fifth, you know, they definitely their 108 moves is starting to become go time to get it done.
So Gilbert will take over that second position as he takes over from Lawson. Now Lawson trying to regroup, get back up in towards the lead as Barker now has his biggest lead. Gilbert's able to close it. Great turn for Gilbert.
Yeah, it looks like Gilbert's running a kind of like a diamond line in the corner, but him and Lawson have to be careful coming off the corner because their lines intersect with Lawson coming off and Gilbert coming down.
So Gilbert really on the attack as he tries to chase down Barker.
And, you know, I think Barker's gone to the bottom to try to protect the bottom so the guys behind him can't get underneath him. But, you know, that opened the door for Gilbert here on the top side.
Barker continues to use that lane, but that outside line for Gilbert, he's slowly chipping away at that lead.
You know, it'd be interesting to see if he hangs the outside. Yep, let's try to make a run on the outside here.
So Gilbert will lead at the line with 9 laps to go as he uses that outside line to his advantage. It's Lawson watching on from third, but as of right now, it's the front two as Gilbert will have the momentum again this time by.
Yeah, but he clear him. I don't think we'll see him go down to the bottom line. It looks like he's going to stay on the top because, I mean, it got him around on the outside, so there's no reason to change it at the moment.
As he's able to pull past Barker. Now Barker's got Lawson to his outside. Lawson looks to that outside to try to take over the second spot.
Yeah, it looks like Barker may be trying to set up a slider or running a slider line, trying to get some momentum back on Gilbert to get back door to door.
Gilbert will continue to lead down the backstretch. As now that battle for second heats up, Gilbert's starting to put some space between the other two drivers behind him. But Barker really looking through this small block, or this veterans race here, Nicholas. That outside momentum is really the place to be.
You know, it's really surprising. I mentioned earlier the 258s, typically the bottom line is going to be fast, but you know, when Gilbert went to the top, it took him a few laps to get his momentum built and get the track worn in, but ever since then he's been on a roll.
So they get straightened out. Front three, Gilbert, Lawson, as Bob DeGood and Stephen Maurer will watch on from 4th and 5th place. But out front, it's still Mark Gilbert as 2 laps to go as he tries to keep that lead over Barker and Lawson.
You know, if I'm Gilbert right now, my mind is just don't make any mistakes, right? Because you know that Barker and Lawson are right on his heels, just hoping that he makes a mistake to have a chance to win this race here on the final lap.
Well, now all 3 are up in that outside line. Gilbert will lead them down the backstretch. Barker in second. He'll make one last ditch effort through 3 and 4. Gilbert will close the door, and Mark Gilbert will win our Veterans First Responders qualifier and lock into that feature event. Pretty good 20-lap race there to get us started, Nicholas.
Yeah, you know, went caution free, and that's always a good start to the night as well.
So we will have the top 3 drivers join us up here shortly, as it's Gilbert, Barker, Lawson, Bob DeGood, and Steve Maurer, your 5 finishing spots here in this First Responders Veterans Qualifier. Coming up next, we'll have our volunteer qualifier. Again, 1 spot up for grabs before our small block and big block modified 20-lap heat races. And Nicholas, it looks like you've got our 3rd place finisher, Brian Lawson.
Hey, what's going on?
Good run there, bringing home 3rd there in the First Responders and Veterans race. What were you? What was kind of going through your mind there when you saw Gilbert and Barker battling there for 1st and 2nd?
You know, I was more out to just kind of have fun with it and kind of put on a show. I didn't want to push too hard and wreck one of them because, you know, I'm already into the 358 race. So I'm already qualified. So, you know, I decided to kind of let them battle it out and, you know, best man wins. And I was just kind of helping putting on a show a little bit, you know.
Yep, definitely. And, you know, it also gets you some extra laps here on the track for the 358.
Exactly.
So you're not able to run the heat races. So any chance on the track, I think, is definitely worth it. Gets you a little more laps. But yeah, so congratulations on your 3rd place finish, and definitely congratulations on qualifying for the small blocks already. You got any sponsors you want to thank?
Mainly want to thank you guys for doing the broadcast, you for coming back for the night or for the next couple of nights. And, you know, mainly just want to mention Mission 22 and all they do. And, of course, can't leave without mentioning my guys at Venom Racing.
Yep, that is your 3rd place finisher, Brian Lawson. Congratulations again.
All right, thanks, man.
Now our 2nd place finisher, Jeff Barker. Jeff, we watched you. You had the lead there. You were using that inside line. Mark really used that outside momentum to get past you. What was the thinking between staying where you were or trying to move up there to block him on that outside line?
I couldn't take up the whole darn track. Yeah, I did a little bit of blocking there early on, but I just decided to stay down low and see if he could make it work up there, and he did, so it gets a little data for later.
Did it surprise you that he was able to make that type of move on the outside of you and grab that lead?
No, not with these cars. These are momentum cars, and Yeah, that's the preferred lane for these, at least until the track gets slicked off.
Well, a great run for you here in this run. It's got to feel good, and that extra seat time, of course, is always great as well. Any sponsors you want to give a shout out to tonight?
Yeah, I got to thank Malcolm Mills Millwright and Can-Am Racing Team and the Marines and let's see, got one another. Who am I missing? Oh yeah, All About Tie Dye.
Well, great run, Jeff. We look forward to talking to you later in the week.
All right, thanks, sir.
And now from Victory Lane, Nicholas, you've got our winner, Mark Gilbert.
Hey, Mark, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Nick.
All right, so kind of walk us through your race here. What were you thinking there in the early laps when everybody kind of got in line and kind of what went through your mind as you were thinking about taking the top there?
I was kind of just minding my own business. I was just staying behind there, and I kept getting a good run coming off the corner, but they were spinning them a little bit, and I was like, I think I got to go up a lane, and I tried it, and it was there, and the rest is history, I suppose.
Yeah, you definitely put on a show there, passing Barker on the outside with the track state the way that it was. You think you might have given away a few secrets going into Thursday night's race there with that line you ran?
Unfortunately, because I'll probably be starting back a little farther, but I'm hoping that that's going to help me out coming for this heat race we have coming up here.
Yeah, definitely. You have another chance to kind of lock yourself in a little bit higher in the field, but it's got to feel good to be locked in now. And does that take a little bit of pressure off of you going into the heat race?
Oh, for sure. I can kind of go out there and just I'm starting on the front row, so hopefully I can just go out there and win the thing and start up front. But if not, guess we're locked in for Thursday.
Well, definitely congratulations on winning this race, and then good luck in the next one. You got any sponsors you want to thank?
Just a shout out to Venom Racing. We always support each other well over there, and RCP Cockpits, Eric over there, he helped me get this whole thing set up in like a week or so, and that's about it.
All right, well, congratulations again, and again, good luck in the next race. That is your winner of the Veterans and First Responders race here for the charity event, Mark Gilbert.
Well, a great start to our night of racing, Nicholas. We will have our volunteer qualifier coming up next. That is another spot up for grabs as our Chris Yacklin Memorial Super Dirt Week charity event supporting veterans and Mission 22 continues on. Of course, you're watching the Coast to Coast Racing League Network, and along with our catalytic recovery, this is the Coast to Coast Racing League.
History repeats itself. History is always happening over and over again. So one of the ways to stop a theme, one of the ways to stop something from reoccurring is to first of all admit it. It didn't take long for us to quickly realize that there was power behind Mission 22, power behind its brand, power behind its message, and power behind its people that represented it.
All right, my friends, day 19 of 22, the 22-day push-up challenge. Day 19 means 418 men and women have possibly committed suicide in the last 19 days. I went and looked up my ship, the USS Rushmore. More people have killed themselves by now than ever served on our ship at one time in just 19 days.
19, 20, 21. One more. Y'all ready for the last one?
Mission 22 has become a decentralized nationwide effort to show love, to raise money, to be available for other warriors, to be able to be a point of contact, to let the warriors know, but also for warriors to let other warriors know that there is a community. You're not alone. This isn't happening in silence. You're not forgotten. We brought 4 veterans from all different parts of the United States and brought them together to hike through the state of Oregon.
May God bless you on your journey. Thank you for serving our country and for being willing to go on this walk. I'm praying you feel peace and strength with each mile.
On this hike, some folks found God, some folks remained sober, some folks lost a significant amount of weight to be able to participate. And not so much just a healing walk for us as warriors, but for us to contribute to other people's healing. This hike, we raised $12,000 for endobiogeny. Some of the folks on this hike, they're going to be volunteers for this treatment. And I couldn't be more pleased and more proud because it was difficult. We had a lot of struggles. Not everything on this hike went pretty, but We put some skin in the game. At the end of the day, we're able to raise money, and we'll be able to use that money so guys can get the treatment that they need. The War at Home Monument is an example of our social impact, of our awareness, of our permanent fixture to do the work that we can't always do, to always remind us of what we've lost and what we will lose if we don't reconcile it. What we've done is taken 20 different veterans with their families' permission and used them as a silhouette to cut out of a 3,000-pound plate of steel. These warriors are placed in a V, and this is to show the size of the problem. This is to show the empty space they leave behind. And it's also to be a constant reminder of what happens when we don't listen to the stories of the warriors that fought in our name. Because it's not okay. It's not okay that everyone didn't know about veteran suicide. It's not okay that these things were a secret or left unsaid, or that it was shameful. It's not okay that it's shameful to suffer alone and suffer in silence, because if you ask for help, that you're no longer a warrior, that you're weak.
Yeah. So I come back and I thought everybody else changed. So I pushed my family away. And it took a long time to really realize it because I didn't want to look internally. I got my Class A CDL and hit the road. I was on the road for about 8 years trucking. And this makes me think about how insignificant all of the major things going on are. I mean, what, 1 million years ago, that blew up. And, over time became this.
Whether it's hiking mountains or building monuments, it takes a community to heal a warrior. Warriors didn't get damaged and didn't become separated from the sunlight of the spirit on their own. It happened in the name of this nation. We can change the way we think about war, how we think about warriors, how we think about ourselves, and what we think we're going to do in the American community. We can do it now. We can do it here. And there's going to be another generation of warriors coming. We can set the tone to create a culture that grabs them up and loves them and smothers them in resources and opportunity right now.
Welcome back to the dirt track at Charlotte, as it is Chris Yackman Memorial Super Dirt Week charity event supporting veterans and Mission 22. We move on to our volunteer qualifier here, Nicholas. We've got 13 cars, and it's another chance for someone to lock themselves into that feature event.
Yeah, I'm wondering how many of these guys were actually watching the last race and kind of looking at the line that was being ran and kind of what came into play there with Gilbert being able to use the outside.
Something to watch as the night develops here, especially with some more 20-lap events. Got 7 more of them here. And looking at who we've got out on the track, there's some big hitters in this event that would love to be locked into that Thursday night championship race.
As we heard there at the end from Gilbert, going into the heat races, it definitely takes the pressure off of you if you're able to grab this one spot here in the volunteer race.
So they will finish up their warm-up session here. It's Salas, Templeton, Reynolds, Chapman, Lawson, your 5 fastest here in practice.
Yeah, and even in practice now, I'm sure that everybody ran laps to warm back up, but you can kind of see where the track is already starting to wear out there getting into the corner. So, there's quite a few more cars here in this race. And, it's the same amount of laps, but double, almost triple the cars. So, I think we'll see the track wear in quite a bit more than we did in that last race.
And you can see Schatzer and Boydell there racing hard here in this practice session. Maybe a preview of what is to come here. As you see, lots of guys using that inside line, and you've got to think at least some of them were watching that last race there, because there is plenty of cars trying to use that outside line.
Yeah, you've got Dean Reynolds right there, and you've got, I think it's Walker. Yeah, no, I can't remember who that is in the mega plumbing yellow car, but you know, those guys are up against the wall. So, you know, here in practice, they're trying different lines to see if they can improve on the time they have in practice, maybe to carry something here into this 20-lap race.
Should be indeed. As Dean Reynolds, Templeton continue to battle. Looking at those times here in this practice session. Salas, about 1/10 of a second faster than the second fastest of Templeton. But then on back, it is very tight quarters.
Yeah, I definitely think we need to see some of these guys in the tech shed after this race.
So as we mentioned, we've got a volunteer qualifier here. One spot up for grabs. See, Schatzer has some issues down the back stretch. Then we have our 358 modified 320 lap heats. Top 6 will transfer. Big blocks, they'll have their 20 lap heat. 6 will transfer, and that will conclude our Tuesday night portion of the week. Tomorrow night, you'll be on here, Nicholas. Last chance showdown and pole scramble for both series. And then Thursday night, it's championship night. Small block 75 lap championship feature, big block modified 100 lap championship feature event. So plenty of racing action here on the Coast to Coast Racing League Network throughout the remainder of this. As it looks like Steven Spies is getting out on the track for his first time here before this one, right as it comes to an end. And with that, we will move on to the starting lineup. So row number 1, it's going to be Steven Spies next to Brandon Templeton. Row number 2, Isaac Salas alongside Blake Chapman. Kurt Schatzer 5th, Dean Reynolds 6th. Jeff Barker alongside Terry Landis. And rounding out your top 10, it's Brian Lawson next to GJ Boydell. Starting 11th, it's Jeffrey Kemper next to Steven Bixler. 13th, Steve Maurer alongside Bob DeGood. And rounding out the field is that 84 of Colin Johnston. Tell you what, Nicholas, that top 6-7 cars are some guys that we see a lot here on the Coast to Coast Racing League and should lead to a good battle here early in this one.
Yeah, you know, it takes me back to the Thursday Night Thunder days where, you know, you've got guys that are consistently in the front and they always put on a good show. So really looking forward to this one getting started.
So they are lined up behind the Stephen King Foundation pace car. As we have 20 laps for a spot in our feature event. And what should be a good night as Gambler Motorsports driver Steven Spies will lead us to green. So 2x2 around the dirt track at Charlotte. Any predictions here on how this one could play out, especially after watching that First Responders Veterans race?
Yeah, I think you'll see guys venturing to the top a little bit quicker than we did in that last race. And I think you'll see a lot of side-by-side racing, and I think you'll see guys that are trying to make their way through the field and maybe trying to create lanes that we haven't seen so far tonight.
Racing action continues. It's going to be Steven Spies, Brandon Templeton through 3 and 4, leading us to green here in our volunteer qualifier. 20 laps around the dirt track at Charlotte. Green flag will wave. They'll stay 2x2 the first 2 rows heading off into turn number 1.
It looks like Steven Spies got a really, really good start there coming out of 4, and Salas is already looking towards the bottom. So let's see what Templeton can do here on the top.
Templeton to the top. Salas will look to the inside. They're almost 3 wide coming out of 4. He'll fall back into the inside of Blake Chapman as Kurt Schatzer watches on from 5th as the front 4 are side by side.
Yeah, it looks like Salas gets a really good run coming off the corner, but Spies is able to get a really good run getting in the corner. And you see the top line there already starting to become dominant early here.
See just how hard it is, and it's almost a slow and tedious pass as you use that outside momentum, but it's just a few feet each lap, and that will give Templeton the lead that time by at the line.
Yeah, they're really, really tight.
Caution flag comes out, our first caution of the night, as it looks like Terry Landis involved in this one. Ooh, and it was Kemper. Lawson got stacked up in front of him. Nowhere for them to go there. I think Bixler involved in that one as well. So we'll stack them back up here, Nicholas, kind of reset. But that side-by-side action we saw in that previous qualifier has continued here early.
Yeah, you know, the top two rows really didn't change a whole lot. You know, it looks like they may have flipped inside to outside and outside to inside. But, you know, it'll be interesting to see what Templeton does here going into one, because he was on the outside on the initial start. So, you know, I would imagine that he would want to get back to the top as quickly as he could. And, you know, the only way to do that into one is to throw a slide job. So we definitely have to keep our eyes peeled on him to see if he holds it on the bottom or he tries to dive it in there and clear Speeds coming off two.
So Speeds will restart on the outside here after starting on the pole. Salas will also, the front four will flip on each other. Those who were on the outside go to the inside. Those who are on the inside now on the outside. So we'll see how that plays out. Also see if it brings in Barker. Gives him the opportunity to continue his charge to the front. So side by side. Through 3 and 4, the green flag will wave. Templeton has a great start on the inside. Speeds to his outside. We'll see what Templeton does with that as he slowly slides up into that outside line. It quickly leaves just Blake Chapman to the inside as now Schatzer tries to follow him up to the inside of Isaac Salas.
Yeah, Salas got a really good run coming off the floor there. He did that Gilbert line coming off the floor, kind of dominating it off the corner, and it gave him a really, really good run.
So you got Spees in the middle, Salas looking to his outside. Chapman will move to the outside now as well. As we have 14 laps to go, it's Brandon Templeton to the lead. Spees to his inside, Salas to his rear.
Yeah, you know, Steven Spees is really holding his own down on the bottom. The outside line has so much momentum coming off the corner, but you can see that he really holds his own getting in.
You can see the entire field. Oh, Speed slides up. Isaac Salas gets into him. That'll lose his momentum. But you could see even Spees on the inside there, Nicholas, had moved up as high as he could.
Yep, you know, I think he was starting to recognize maybe that the outside line was definitely having the drive coming off the corner. It looks like Speed slides up a little bit there coming off 4 again.
So Templeton is almost checked out here. The biggest lead we've seen tonight now as Salas makes a move to the inside of Spees. 3 wide behind them. He'll power him and he'll take the lead and take over second to the inside.
Yeah, I bet Salas goes right back to the top here at 3 and 4 now that he's cleared Speeds to try to close that gap with 10 remaining.
3 wide behind him. Schatzer all the way up to that wall. As they all chase Brandon Templeton, he continues to lead. He's got almost a second lead on Isaac Salas. Isaac is separated now as now it's Spees into the clutches of Blake Chapman.
It's really good racing all the way throughout the field here. You know, guys are running 2 different lines. You know, the field guys are trying to run the bottom, and really they're holding their own. They're not losing too much coming off the corner.
Now 7 laps to go as Spees, Schatzer, and Chapman continue to battle. Dean Reynolds watches on from 6th. Salas is trying to chase down Templeton, unable to close that gap as of yet, as now it's a 4-car battle for 3rd.
Yeah, and all four running very, very different lines. You know, in 3 and 4, I saw Dean there go all the way up into the marble trying to get a run on these guys in front of him.
So now it's Chapman moving into that third spot. 5 laps to go. The lead is unchanged. It's still Brandon Templeton out front. He's now got a 0.6 of a second lead, so Isaac slowly chipping away at it. As you can see, Isaac is entering very low in turns number 3.
Yeah, you know, I think a lot of the guys are running top there in 1 and 2 and then running the bottom in 3 and 4. And like you said, you know, Salas definitely slides in there really, really hard getting the 3 and then allows the car to drift up the corner a little bit coming off.
He has cut the lead down to a 0.5 second. Only 3 laps to go, so will he have enough time will be the question. As you see the lead the front 2 have over the rest of the field.
Yeah, you know, they've definitely been able to separate themselves here on this the second half of the race. And, you know, I think at this point they're trying different lines, seeing what works and seeing if they make up any time.
So this time by, Brandon Templeton will get the white flag. Isaac Salas in second, as Chapman has settled into third. As Brandon Templeton looking to lock himself in with the win here in this qualifier. As he will take the win, the volunteer qualifier goes to Brandon Templeton, second Isaac Salas, third Blake Chapman. So another clean race for the most part. 1 caution, our only caution of the night, as we will have our top 3 finishers join us here shortly. As they get their photo on the front stretch here at the dirt track at Charlotte. Felt like that race, Nicholas, with everyone jumping out to that outside, that advantage really was neutralized early. As really the front 4, none of them moved to the inside with the fear of losing a spot there.
Yeah, you know, I think we saw a couple guys maybe get hung out in the dry and just kind of had to fall in line where they could get back in line. And then there at the end of the race, you know, you saw guys running really 3 and 4 different lines trying to find more grip and more speed coming off the corner.
So as we wait for our top 3 finishers here from the volunteer qualifier, coming up next we will have our 358 modified heat races, 20 laps apiece. And then we will conclude our evening with the big block 20 lap heat races. As we will give it just a little bit longer to see if anyone from that top 3 podium finish joins us here. And it looks like there they are. And Nicholas, you've got our 3rd place finisher, the 20 of Blake Chapman.
Blake, you got a copy?
I got you, Nick.
All right, so kind of walk us through your race there. What were you thinking? I think you started on the outside of the second row, I believe. So kind of walk us through your race and kind of what went through your mind.
Yeah, this is a pretty relaxed race. You know, it wasn't, you know, really wasn't too competitive, you could say, but there was a lot of fast cars here. So it was pretty laid back, but I was just trying to get comfortable because I got the heat race coming up here later tonight in my big block. So I was just trying to figure out a couple lines that might be good. And I was sticking to the bottom, and I was running that. I was feeling pretty good down there. So I figured I wouldn't have anything for Brandon and Isaac. They're always out here every week and, you know, battling for that top spot. So, I mean, those guys are tough to catch, and hopefully I'll have something for them come Thursday night.
So were you surprised with a different line? I don't know if you were watching the race that we had here, but yeah, it seemed like it was really fast, really early. Did that kind of surprise you coming into the night?
Yeah, a little bit. I figured, you know, it'd move up to the top a little bit faster than it has. You know, like I said, I was kind of running the bottom there the whole time, and I felt pretty good down there. So I was just gonna, keep it down there, but it was definitely fast to start off the night, right there in the middle, and then guys could really run in wherever they wanted, which is what you want to see. You want to see a multi-group racing, so it should be a really good racing for the rest of the night.
We're definitely looking forward to it. And so this is your third place finish, Chapman. You got any sponsors you think for giving you this podium tonight?
Yeah, I got to thank my parents for watching tonight. All the boys down at the Kite Sim Racing team and the Can-Am Racing team. I got to give a shout out to Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. Head over to their website, use code CART, C-A-R-T, at checkout for 15% off some of their delicious popcorn. I got to thank the whole league for putting this on. Nobody does charity events like the Coast to Coast Racing League does. It's great every time they put one on. And I got to thank you guys for putting this broadcast on, and it's good to see you back out here, Nick.
All right, that is your place finish for Platinum.
Now joining us, our second place finisher. It's the 05 of Isaac Salas. Isaac, good run there. Were you able to watch that first responders veterans race there to see what an advantage that outside line had prior to your qualifier there?
Yeah, actually, I was watching Mark and Brian in that, so I was trying to take a little bit of lessons that I learned into the big block.
Looking at it, it felt like maybe that outside line got neutralized there as everyone wanted to be up there and really nobody was trying to move to the inside. Really, you were the only one that once you got into that second spot tried to move to the inside to get up some advantage.
Yeah, I mean there wasn't any cushion in 1 and 2, so obviously it's still quick up there, but it wasn't as quick as normally is. And I seen maybe if I could just kind of hit my marks, that maybe I could maybe make the bottom work. So I was just there to try it.
Well, it was a great run. It was watching you trying to chase them down. Any sponsors you want to give a shout out to tonight?
Yeah, we can. All those guys over at Venom, Dean, the Super Dirt Car Series, Magnum Race Designs, Got Your Six Racing Network, RSN Trackside, Simtrax Broadcasting, everybody here in Coast to Coast, man. Awesome guys. Mission 22 and everything that they do. Gramps, Top Notch Trucking. Thank you guys for the broadcast. I don't know if I said it last time, so I hope I did. And then yeah, thanks to our veterans, my friends, my family, and just everybody that supports me.
Well, that is Isaac Salas, your second place finisher here in the volunteer qualifier. And now joining us, Nicholas, you've got our winner, Brandon Templeton.
You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, it's awesome since I've been around these, and it's come back after a long period, and here you are still winning races. It's definitely good to hear on the top of the podium. Coming to this race here, did you expect the top as fast as it was, as early as it was?
No, I actually didn't expect it to be that quick. I was kind of forced up there just because Steve and I were running side by side, and to give him room, I kind of moved up one lap and I really cleared him off at 2. So I thought, well, 1 and 2 is definitely happening up there. And I tried to stick kind of middle to low in 3 and 4 because that's just usually what Charlotte does. But for the most part, just, experience paid off, I guess. But Isaac was kind of catching me a little there. He's pretty good shoe. He didn't have enough time and it was a little bit one lane.
Kind of walk us through there on that restart. I think when you started the race on the outside and when you went to restart, you were on the bottom. Did anything go through your mind, or you just had to get a good jump to try to get that momentum for the top side coming out of 1 and a 3?
Yeah, I was really just trying to get the jump. In the second restart, you get to have control as the leader, so you don't have to wait for the green flag, and that outside guy can't really jump it as good. So I figured if I cleared him and got my entry into 1, then he kind of had to react to me, and I could run my line, so that's what I did.
Well, definitely congrats on locking yourself in feature. Got sponsors you want to thank?
I got to thank Dirt Track Bank, first of all. What they're doing for our racing team and for real racing is just awesome. Check out dirttrackbank.com. Got Your Six Racing Network. Everything, Joe's doing there to support Mission 22 himself is really cool to go along with the charity. So glad to represent him. HDR, the Hammer Down Racing Team, Joe, Kurt, and Brian, we a lot of help to each other. Extreme Images, Big C's Lawn Care, Mealy's Makery, Extreme E-Speed, thanks for, doing the broadcast. Thanks to you for coming back, and helping out. And everyone watching at home, thanks.
That is winner of the volunteer race, locking himself in feature. That is Brandon Templeton.
And with that, our 2 qualifying races are done for the night. We're going to take another quick commercial break. When we come back, we've got our 358 modified heat races, 20 laps. Top 6 will transfer. So when we get back, we will have more exciting action here on the Coast to Coast Racing League Network. It's the Chris Yacklin Memorial Super Dirt Week charity event here with Extreme E-Speed TV.
1, 2, 3. I love it, Molly.
They say it's a matter of time, 1,000 days and the sun won't shine before I come back to you. For your love I will go far, I wanna be wherever you are. I know I'm coming back for you.
Brother, it's good to see you.
My love is a river long, the best ride in a million wrongs. I know I'm coming back to you. And I'm happy, nothing's going to stop me. And I'm happy, nothing's going to stop me. I'm making my way home, I'm making my way.
One, 2, 3. I love it, Molly.
They say it's a matter of time, 1,000 days and the sun won't shine before I come back to you. For your love I will go far, I wanna be wherever you are. I know I'm coming back for you.
Brother, it's good to see you.
My love is a river long, the best ride in a million wrongs. I know I'm coming back to you. And I'm happy, nothing's going to stop me. And I'm happy, nothing's going to stop me. I'm making my way home, I'm making my way.
You know, now we start to get a little bit of pressure here. These guys have to be able to lock themselves into the end of Thursday. Yeah, I think you're going to start to see guys more try to move to the top. And I think as we add car counts, the crowd's going to weigh in quite a bit faster. So maybe some guys middle late, and we might see guys going to the bottom. Yeah, especially with 358 too. When the middle starts going away, you see guys they'll run right to the wall. You Reynolds making up some time in the last volunteers. You saw guys weren't at the very bottom and let the car slide up just past the back of the wall. So, we're really in for some good races. We're adding the car count, and like I said, the pressure is now on these guys. If they don't qualify here to this race, they have more chance to make the main event on Thursday.
So we will get ready to go green here at the dirt track at Charlotte. as they get ready to go here side by side. As it's Grandy and Reynolds, your front two. Green flag will wave, and we are back to racing action here at Charlotte.
Yeah, and our 2x2 most all the way throughout the field. We've got who really chooses the line going 3 and 4.
So you can see, caution towards the back. Green flag will stay out here through 1 and 2. Grandy will hold on to the lead. Dean Reynolds in second. Moon in third. Boydell and Bachman continue to battle side by side for that 4th spot.
Was 4 wide there, middle of the pack. You know, they really jockeying for position, trying to get that fast line to make their way through the field.
So they continue to race on here. It's Grandy out front. Dean Reynolds in second. Moonin all get single file. Now the front 6 single file, all using that middle to high line. As it's Bob DeGood making a move. He's quickly moved up. He started 10th. He's now up to 7th, battling for that 6th spot.
Yeah, trying to make moves early. There's a caution. Green flag stay out.
So it stays out here early. As they continue racing, there goes the caution. And with that, we're going to take a quick break here. We're going to try to get sound from the track. We'll be right back with a green flag from our heat race number 1. So we're back here, 15 laps to go. We're 5 laps into this heat race number 1. As Joseph Grandy, Dean Reynolds out front. Green flag waves. Grandy and Reynolds will lead to green. Reynolds will fall into second as Grandy takes over the lead 2 by 2 back there between Bachman and Moonen, as that's a battle for third.
Yeah, it looks like Grandy really good start there. And I was in the way, and now there's just a beehive of cars behind them.
So they continue to battle. As out front, it is Grandy and Reynolds. They've separated now from the field. Bob DeGood continue. Oh, and around goes Steven Spees. Caution flag will wave. Bob DeGood will go around as well. So Steven Spees goes around as we watched that one happen live. As not the continued momentum that Bob DeGood wanted. Also up front, we'll see right now it's showing Dean Reynolds got past Joseph Grandy. We'll see if, nope, Grandy will hold on to that lead as we prepare to go back to green. So back to racing action, we prepare to go side by side. It's still Dean Reynolds, Joseph Grandy, your front two. So 17 cars out here on the track. 6 will transfer on. Top 6 here. And that's really where the battle rages on. Is fourth on back as Joseph Grandy leads us back to green. He'll move up in front of Dean Reynolds. 13 laps to go here at Charlotte, here in heat race number 1 for the 358s.
Yeah, Moon was able to pull Dean Reynolds' door there, get into one, and couldn't quite maintain that momentum coming on. See if he can do anything come turn 4.
So Grandy will continue to lead. They get single file up front as that's Bachman looking to the outside as the caution flag waves yet again. Sean Green involved in this one, as we'll watch and see what may have happened to him back there. Oh, contact with Bob DeGood. We'll set that off as they just ran out of room coming there out of turn number 4.
All right, as we get back underway here, it looks like got another good start coming off the turf there. Dean Reynolds in second. Kyle Moon rounds out your 3. All single file. There's a 3-car lengths, 2.5 lengths between each car here. Anybody can make up the ground with only 10 remaining.
So 10 laps here as Grandy makes his way through 3 and 4. Dean Reynolds will fall into that spot. Really, you've got to go back to Purcell back in 6th as he's trying to work on Massau for position as the single file restart has them spread out all the way around this track.
The top 3 are all running lines, and like you got to go back in the field to get to any side-by-side racing. But these guys are definitely searching for speed here to try to make up the ground as laps 1.
The laps wind down. You can see Moonen trying to hold off Bachman. Grandy continues to lead. You got to go back to that battle for 6th, which is currently Joseph Massau in that 63 machine. He does have space back to the 7th place car, but of course you don't want to be the last man in that transfer spot just in case anything happens, as the caution flag will wave for the 4th time. This one, Dylan Kinsey having some issues in that 83 Busch Light machine. Ooh, Steven Spies in the 10 made contact up ahead of him, nowhere for him to go. That is what brings out our latest caution. So our fourth caution of the night, that means another Mission 22 restart here in our heat race number 1. So Joseph Grandy out front will continue to try to hold down that first spot as the lights remain on that Stephen King Foundation pace truck. Lights will go off that Stephen King Foundation pace truck this time by as we get ready to go back to green. As it's Grandy, Reynolds, Moonen, your front 3, 6 laps to go. As the laps continue to wind down here, green flag will wave. Grandy able to jump out front with Dean Reynolds behind him. He's trying to hold off Kyle Moonen, as now Moonen's got Bachman all over him. Joseph Massau holds on to that 6th and final transfer spot, but GJ Boydell's going to take a run at it with 5 laps to go.
Yeah, he was running the very, very bottom. They're trying to find a way around these guys that are running side to side.
And the 5th caution flag of the night will wave. When we'll be down to 3 laps to go here. So 5th caution of the night. Latest caution included Bruce Hilton. As heat race number 1 slowly winds down. 4 laps to go. Joseph Grandy, Dean Reynolds, Bachman, Moonen, Purcell, and Massau currently hold on to those 6 transfer spots. So another single file restart here to go back to green. As Joseph Grandy so far has been able to hold on to that lead. Dean Reynolds, Kyle Moonen trying to chase him down. And the laps are winding down here, Nicholas, as green flag will come back out for another Mission 22 restart. Joseph Grandy, Dean Reynolds, Kyle Moonen, your front 3 as they head off into turn number 1.
Have to go. These guys definitely are not holding anything back at this point. They're trying to get every inch of the racetrack that they can, trying to make it in top 6 to qualify for the big event.
So Grandy's able to separate from Reynolds there. 2 laps to go now. The front 4 have broken away. Joseph Massau continues to battle with Tanner Purcell, with GJ Boydell watching on as they hold that 6th and final transfer spot. White flag waves. It's Joseph Grandy out front in front of Dean Reynolds and Kyle Moonen as they make their way down the backstretch through 3 and 4 for the final time. Reynolds will make an attempt. Winner's going to be Joseph Grandy. The battle for the 6th spot will be Purcell over GJ Boydell. So your 6 transfer spots, Joseph Grandy, Dean Reynolds, Kyle Moonen, Bachman, Purcell, and Massau will be your 6 transferring on. And your 3 podium finishers will join us up here in the booth here shortly. As heat race number 1 for the 358s comes to a close. And it looks like we have our 2nd place finisher, Dean Reynolds. Dean, walk us through your night there in that heat race. It looked like you were trying to give Joseph everything you had, just didn't have enough to take over that lead.
Yeah, it's a little tough with the 358s. I think I found a better lane, but I needed 2 or 3 laps to get to it. I think I found something in 1 and 2 there. 3 and 4, I didn't know where to go, but I actually was hoping I'd get a little more space on Moon in there, and I was going to try to fluff in 1 and 2 and see if it would grip. But Joseph is good. He's a good runner. He's fast. Finishing second. I'll start 10th now in the 358 race, which is where I timed. So that's okay. I'll take it.
The cautions here was something we hadn't seen throughout the night until this race. How did that shake up the momentum, especially like you said in these 358s?
Well, in the double files, it's tough because I'm on single screen, and it's so hard to be on the outside. So I was just staying quiet and listening for his motor to go, and then try to time it better, and I did. But it's definitely an advantage. You can pick up a couple spots on that, a couple laps. In the lead by doing that. But we're in the show. I was hoping to time in the top 6 because I did that with both divisions last year, but I was close. But it's good to know you're in the show.
Well, great run tonight. Congratulations on locking yourself in. Any sponsors you want to thank tonight, Dean?
Well, I got to thank, first of all, the guys in Venom. I'm in their Discord, and they welcomed me in their Discord, and they're helping me out. And Isaac was coaching me during that whole race. And, so I want to thank them. Travis, I want to thank you for doing the telecast, and Roger and everybody for doing Coast to Coast. As a lot of people know, this is Super Dirt Week is near and dear to me. I have a big role in the real-life Super Dirt Week. So, we kind of set up the format for Roger on this, so we're having a good time doing it and being part of it. And then, of course, we can't forget the reason why we're here is Mission 22. I put that on my car as the biggest name, and hopefully we'll raise a lot of money for them, and it's a great cause for our veterans, and hopefully we can call it Mission 7 or Mission 4 or even Mission 0. So let's help them out as much as we can.
Well, congratulations, Dean. That's Dean Reynolds, your 2nd place finisher tonight. Now up is our 3rd place finisher, Nicholas. You have Kyle Moonen.
Hey, Kyle, you got a copy?
Yeah, I gotcha.
So kind of walk us through your race. What were you thinking here coming into the 20-lap heat race tonight? You started in a locked position. Were you trying to make up some ground, or just kind of trying to take some notes and get some experience here on the track tonight, preparing for Thursday night?
Man, really just trying to run laps and stay out of trouble. It really was. It was pretty much one lane, the whole time anyway. I kind of tried the top there for a minute and was, hoping that would come in. But as soon as I saw the guy in 4th, keep getting under me lap after lap, I knew on that last caution I needed to just go back to the middle and hang out in 3rd. So.
Well, definitely a good run. It's always nice to lock yourself in the heat race and not have to worry about running any of the last chance qualifiers. Kind of what are you expecting as you go into Thursday night? Are you expecting a lot of long green flag runs, or are you expecting maybe some stopping and going? Because it is a longer race than what's typically ran.
My guess is at first it's going to be quite a few cautions until the track slicks off. When it's when it's wet like that, it just is, it's one lane, people trying to fight for it, and everyone stays, together. And I'm kind of expecting quite a few at first, and maybe have some stretches there towards the end, hopefully.
Well, definitely, I think it's definitely we're gearing up for a really good event come Thursday night. You got any sponsors you want to thank for bringing home the podium tonight?
Just all the guys at Vanderbilt, Ross Crennet, Velocity Race Design, and you guys for the broadcast and the league, and everyone at Mission 22 and everyone that helps put this on.
Well, definitely congratulations again for locking yourself in for Thursday night. That is your third place finisher, Kyle Moonen, here in the first qualifier.
Appreciate it.
Now joining us in the booth is our winner tonight, Joseph Grandy. Joseph, walk us through your night there, those 20 laps to victory.
Well, obviously starting on the pole makes it a lot easier. Charlotte's pretty bottom dominant in the beginning. It got a little sketchy towards the end with all those cautions, but just hit my line and hope for the best.
What can you take away here from tonight with that feature win headed into that feature event on Thursday night?
Just race the track the same way. Obviously, the features, a lot more laps. It's going to push up to the top eventually, majority of the race, and then when it slicks off, you might be able to roll the middle, and hopefully it's going to be a straight line, a train running the top. Hopefully, no one hits the wall, takes out half the field, but we'll see.
Well, it was a great run tonight for you, Joseph. Any sponsors you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Catalytic Recovery again, West Anton Repair, all the guys over at Training Wheels Racing. I appreciate you guys for doing the broadcast, coast to coast, all their sponsors, Mission 22, and that's about it.
Well, congratulations. That's your winner here in heat race number 1 for the 358s. It's the 518 of Joseph Grandy. And with that, Nicholas, we will take a commercial break. When we come back, we will have heat race number 2 for the 358s, as it is Super Dirt Week charity time for the Coast to Coast Racing League. You're watching it all here on Extreme E Speed TV.
Yes, that's why. So we'll just give them a quick brush, and then we'll get our stuff on, and then we have like an obstacle course. And so
I'm smiling.
You don't know why you're smiling. We always smile. Smiling's the best.
The Mission 22 Equine Program is a riding program for children of veterans. We also serve grandchildren or direct family members of veterans.
It's a lot of fun, and I've always loved horses. So.
We have private lessons and group lessons, but it's not just riding. Riding lessons, people just think that that's all it is. But we have the opportunity here to really build confidence, to lower stress levels, to give them an outlet and opportunity to spend time doing something healthy and productive. Mission 22 is really based on the foundation of the importance for family. It's why we're supporting families here. So in a time where kids' programs are being canceled left and right, school is shut down, they're not able to be around their friends, being able to have an opportunity where they can just be together and let go of that stress and be around people. Again, honestly, it's just really that simple, being around people. Who would have thought that it was something as simple as that?
That's okay. You want to grab his reins, and then I'll have you walk him forward.
It's really a special thing to watch these kids come every week and build a partnership and a relationship with their horse. It lets them forget about everything that's going on in life, being able to come here, kind of shut the world out a little bit, and have a really stress-free, fun environment.
There's tons of studies that have been done on lowering of cortisol levels of children, and especially with children of veterans, often growing up in a household that can be a more stressful place, to be able to have an outlet where they can be outside, fresh air, horses around them, and just growing in that confidence.
Horses are really unique. They're very intuitive to people. They're very emotionally intelligent. They're very emotional animals, very in tune to people. They have a great way of reading people as well, that they can pick up on if you're feeling nervous or scared or excited. They're very reflective to how you feel. And so it's a great way to kind of check in with yourself and see how you're feeling, because they'll let you know.
When you're riding bareback, it's really important to think about keeping your thighs nice and snug.
Watch your spacing. Remember 1 to 2 horse lengths in between. Nice work. Then you're gonna go through the blue barrels, and you can weave through them, and you can walk through them.
Before we came to Central Oregon, we were based out of Portland. So we were renting an office in the city, we were having to pay to board horses, and it was getting to be exceptionally expensive. And so what it came down to was an opportunity to have a facility that we could grow programs out, that we could have the equine program on our own property that we can continue to operate during a time that nobody really knew kind of what was happening next. And so having our own facility gave us the freedom to continue serving the families that we care about.
It's so fun to see parents come and talk to each other, and being able to kind of share stories, watch their kids together is a really neat thing, talk about just life in general, having a place to come and to really connect with people.
Obstacles. I really like riding the horse because it's the best thing ever, and it's so exciting.
By supporting families of veterans on this property through the equine program, it really gives us the opportunity to show that importance. So we're not just supporting their kids, but we're supporting their families. They're having a community here, and building that strong family foundation builds a strong veteran. And that is something that we very much believe in, is supporting the family, supporting the veteran, and that cohesiveness together.
Mission 22 is founded on the timeless principle that America's warriors are equally valuable overseas as they are within our borders. We are unwaveringly committed to the journey back home and understand the barriers our heroes face when making the often arduous and taken for granted transition home. Trauma is an opportunity. While bleeding, hidden pains of the past can never be removed. We can transform them into something brand new and beautiful. We can grow through trauma to become our community's cornerstone, the safest neighbor on the block, the strongest leader in the office, the most caring volunteer at the elementary school. The Recovery and Resiliency Program is a year-long, and it uses everything from cutting-edge biometric tools to science-backed supplements. This is a catalyst to take the deep scars suffered for our nation's sake and turn them into opportunities to direct our God-given purpose and energies as protectors toward a refreshed and meaningful life. By committing to this year-long program, you will be happier, stronger, and wiser. Your PTS and/or TBI may not leave you, but you will be more comfortable in your own skin, and your suffering will begin to have meaning. Our goal is to give warriors one thing, the truth. Let's take responsibility for our healing.
Welcome back to the dirt track at Charlotte, as it is time for our 358 modified heat race number 2. And Nick, we've got another good group of cars here in this one. How do you see this one playing out after seeing that first heat race?
Yeah, we heard the reviews of the track state with the previous drivers, and we actually have some breaking news that going forward, the track state will be set to 20%. The track crew recently come up here and told us that they were changing the track state a little bit to promote some more side-by-side racing. So I think here in the second heat race and the third heat race, we could see some slight differences from that first race.
We saw some additional cautions that first heat race that we didn't see. Was that just more cars on the track, or did that have anything to do with them wanting to, needing to get up into that top 6, or maybe the state of the track?
Yeah, for me, I think you can see it both ways, but I think for me, it's more so the competitiveness for guys just really trying to make it into the show, because it's hard tonight, but it'll be even harder tomorrow when there's more cars on the track and then everybody's lobbying for even fewer spots.
Well, our warm-up is finishing up here. Randy Shreves, Dan McLaren, Alex Pomeluh, Logan Wentz, and Harold Klump were amongst the fastest during that warm-up session. But we're quickly moving on to that starting lineup. And it looks like this. It's Alex Pomeluh next to Harold Klump in row number 1. Paul Thompson alongside Dan McLaren, row number 2. Starting 5th, Stephen Bixler next to Randy Shreves. 7th, Gary Singlecow next to Mike Kramer. And rounding out your top 10, it's Logan Wentz alongside Jeff Barker. Starting 11th, Jeffrey Kemper next to Jacob Massow. Mark Gilbert in 13th alongside Aaron Turkey. 15th, Connor Ross next to Jonathan Krupa. And rounding out the field, which is not going to be on the track, would be Roger Craig. Of course, he is admin tonight. So 20 more laps here around the track, Nicholas. Will be interesting, as it has all night, what happens to that track surface, especially with it showing a little bit more wear right here from the beginning.
Yeah, you know, and I don't think we're going to see any less drive for guys to get to the front as they try to make their way up into one of those top 6 qualifying spots. And, you know, there's still, in this one, there's a lot of fast guys as well. You know, I recognize a lot of these names, and, you know, I think we're definitely in for a treat here in the second race of 6.
So 20 laps. We saw Mark Gilbert, actually saw Mark Gilbert and the guy behind him, Jeff Barker, battle in that qualifier earlier tonight. It was Mark Gilbert that got the best of it. But 20 more laps here on this track as you head towards Thursday. Definitely an advantage as you prepare for that long 75-lap feature event Thursday night.
Yep, and you know, it makes me wonder too how many of these guys that maybe are in the top 6 aren't just trying to, you know, make the show, but they're also trying to figure out what lines to run for Thursday if they're able to maintain that top 6 spot. You know, we've heard a lot of guys talking tonight about just trying to get laps in and trying to get, you know, repetitions in and finding fast lines. I wonder how much of these guys are actually just trying to do that and while they maintain that top 6.
Well, we are about to find out here in the 358 heat race number 2. They line up 2 by 2 through 3 and 4. Green flag will wave for Gilbert and Shreves, leading us back to green here at Charlotte. Gilbert's able to jump out. You got guys going through turn number 2 down in the grass. We'll stay green here early as the race heats up quickly for the 3rd spot.
Yeah, you know, there were 3 wide there for the majority of that lap, and you know, even now they're 2 and 3 wide. They're fighting all around that 6th place transfer spot.
Yeah, that 6th place transfer spot currently held by that 88 of Dan McLaren. Alex Pomeluy quickly trying to move up into there.
You know, Pomeluy there's running the top side, kind of in the middle area. You know, with the track state being different this time, a lot of these guys can't use the same information they saw in the last race.
See Barker to the inside of Kemper there. That's a battle for 3rd. And like you said, this race in the top 6 has heated up quickly.
You know, it's interesting to see the runs that Barker's getting. You know, we've seen pretty much all night that, you know, the middle line has been the fast line here for the 8. So Barker's holding his own and actually making up some ground there on Kemper.
So Gilbert leads Shreves now. Barker's now trying to hold off the Gambler Motorsports 181 of Jeffrey Kemper as Ross holds that 5th spot. The front 5 is quickly pulled away from the rest of the field.
And now they're starting to single out a little bit. Kemper almost had a run there under Barker, but, you know, for the most part, they're all pretty much in line. You know, they've got 15 laps to go, so it'll be interesting to see how long they stay like that and who's trying to jockey for an additional spot, even though they're all in transfer spots right now.
Well, Alex Pomeluy holds down that 6th and final transfer spot. He's closing in on Ross, pulling away from Harold Klump. Klump and Turkey right behind him, 7th and 8th. Great runs for them. They're both up 5 and 6 spots, so their charge towards the front here 7 laps in has been successful as they sit currently just outside that top 6.
You know, if I'm Klump in this position right now, I'm hoping for a caution here before the laps wind down because, you know, in the 358s especially, it's pretty difficult to make up any sizable gap just because these cars are so momentum-based. So, you know, if I'm Klump, I'm definitely hoping for a caution.
And what a difference one heat race makes. We're 9 laps green here in this one. Our last heat had 5 or 6 cautions throughout the night. So they're starting to get spread out here in this heat race. As you can see, the front 6 pacing the field, and really no close battles throughout this field as of right now, minus that battle for 3rd.
Yeah, it looks like Ross threw it on the inside, trying to make something stick there. He's able to maintain to the door of Barker as he throws another slider there into 3 and 4.
So Kemper and Barker continue to battle there. They're trying to split Shreves, who currently runs in that 2nd spot, but it's Mark Gilbert out front, currently has about 3/4 of a second lead on the field, as they've now got 8 laps to go.
Yeah, looking at the timer here, Barker and Kipper are just going back and forth, back and forth. So if they continue this, it could be a race to the finish line here.
Oh, and the caution flag waves. It's Dan McLaren, and that will shake things up, Nicholas.
Yes, I think Klump was definitely hoping for that one, and then it'd be interesting to see who got that position at the line.
So it's Dan McLaren. Just got up too high at the exit of turn number 2. Around he goes. And it's going to be Pomalu, it looks like, with the 6th spot here as we go back to green. So we talked about it. Obviously, Klump and Turkey have moved up through the field, so they've got fast cars here. It'll be interesting with that gap closed, what they can do with Pomalu.
Yeah, just to see if they can, potentially make up that spot. Like I said, there was probably 5 or 6 car lengths between Pomalu and Klump. So, again, if I'm Klump, I'm happy to see that come out and kind of bunch the field back up. Hopefully, they say cautions breed cautions, but it's been a really, really good race. It's been 14 laps and there's only been 1 caution. So, I don't know if it'll be single file. I'm not sure how it's set up in the server, but if it is single file, then we should see some really good racing in multiple lines here at the end of the race.
So it's going to be Gilbert, Shreves, Barker, Kemper, Ross, Pomalu, your top 6 here as we prepare to go back to green. Gilbert's already picked up 1 victory tonight, looking to pick up another one. So if Gilbert's already locked in, would the 7th place car be locked in, Nicholas? Do you know?
No, normally the way it works, since he logged in one of the prelim races, that win. So this win here, if he wins the race or finishes in the top 6, would put him further ahead in the field. So whoever finished 2nd in that earlier qualifier race would take that spot at the back of the field.
Gotcha. And with that, we're back to green. It's Mark Gilbert out front, Shreves 2nd, Barker 3rd. Barker gets stacked up there as Kemper was able to close up quickly there, and Ross up on him, the accordion effect. You can see Pomalu looking to the inside of Ross as he tries to get away from Klump and Turkey behind him. 5 laps to go, 6 will transfer.
Yeah, it looks like that caution didn't help Klump out, but Pomalu's now able to put pressure on Ross there for 5th spot to get him out of the hot seat.
So the front 6 have separated as they had prior to that caution. Gilbert continues to lead. You got to go back to that battle for 2nd now as Barker looks to the inside of Shreves. Kemper and Ross watch on from behind.
Yeah, they've got to be really careful battling this hard with 3 laps to go, because when they're battling side by side, they may not be as fast as the guy behind them, but now Kemper and Ross are side by side as well.
So behind the leader, it's 2 by 2, and the caution flag will wave. Looks like Stephen Bixler, Paul Thompson involved. Oh, and it looks like Bixler went around there in turn number 2. Nowhere for Thompson to go.
So we'll have to see if Shreves is able to get a better jump on Gilbert here with 2 laps to go. as the leader here with single file restarts and really being able to control the start, typically your leader gets a really good start and is able to clear about 2 or 3 car lengths back to the guy in second. So, it'll be interesting to see if Shreves is able to keep that gap really tight and maybe try to sneak out one more position here for qualifying.
So the lights should turn off this time by. Mark Gilbert continues to lead. Shreves, we've had 2 quick cautions here towards the end of this one. We talked about how clean it had been, but with that intensity ramping up, mistakes and gambles start to be made at this point.
Yeah, definitely. 2 laps to go. You definitely don't want to start at the back of a last chance qualifier trying to make it through the field. So if you're right around that 6th position or maybe even in the top 10, you might try to take some risk here to make it into the feature.
So Gilbert, single file restart, leads Shreves around 3 and 4. Green flag will wave. Gilbert breaks away from the field there early as they get back to racing action. The front 4 break away. Oh, Clump's his best restart he's had here late in this one, Nicholas.
Yeah, he's really going to have to put some pressure here on Pomerleau. He was side by side with him coming off turn 2. We'll see if that top line gives him the momentum coming off 4.
So Pomerleau and Ross are side by side. That's the 6th and final transfer spot. Clump now trying to chase him down. He's got Turkey and McLaren right behind him. Final lap. Winner's going to be Mark Gilbert. The battle for the transfer spot will go to Connor Ross. Clump will come 1 short, as Harold Clump will move up 5 spots from 12th to 7th. Aaron Turkey from 14th to 8th. But out front, it's Mark Gilbert, your winner here in the 358 heat race number 2. So Gilbert, Barker, and Shreves, Nicholas, will be the 3 joining us up here in the booth. Kemper, Pomerleau, Ross will be the other 3 transferring on to that 75 lap feature event on Thursday night. And with that, Nicholas, I'll throw it over to you. You have our 3rd place finisher, Randy Shreves.
All right, Randy, you got a copy?
Yeah, I gotcha.
So what was kind of going through your mind there as we got those late race cautions? Were you looking to make a move or just trying to hold on to make sure that you didn't fall out of the top 6 with the mistake trying to be too aggressive?
Yeah, I was pretty content with 2nd there, and then on that last restart, I don't know, I got a pretty bad restart, and I don't know, me and Barker had a good photo finish there at the end. So I don't know. Overall, I had fun. It was a great night. To finish on the podium was just a plus. Hopefully we could do something in the finals there.
It's got to take a lot of pressure off of you, knowing that you don't have to run in that last chance qualifier and kind of try to squeak your way in right there at the end. So definitely a good run here, bringing home 3rd, and really good finish between you and Barker as well. You got any sponsors that you want to thank?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely want to thank my team, LGR Motorsports, Alex Bergeron over at ABR Setup Shop, Coulter West at Redline Race Design, One Wish Foundation, Wraps and Stitches KSB Builder, Finish Line Repair, everybody over at Coast to Coast for what they do, Catalytic Recovery, A&J Custom Creations, Flatline Racing Bodies, Maurer Farm Management, Valhalla Mobile, Epsilon Sprint Wraps, Velocity Race Designs, Young Gun Creations, Raven Graphics, and you guys over at eSpeed, Extreme eSpeed TV, and everybody over at Mission 22. It's an awesome charity to run, and thanks to everybody for watching.
All right, that is your 3rd place finisher, Randy Shreves. Congratulations again on making the feature.
Thanks, Nick.
Now joining us up in the booth is our second place finisher. It's Jeff Barker in the 5:13. Jeff, you had some chances there at the end with those late restarts. What was your try or last ditch effort there with those green flags at the end?
I was just going to try to, get the best jump I could, not lose any time, and just try to hold my line and see what happened. And it worked out by .009. Holy cow.
So we talked to Roger before that one. He changed it to about 20% wear there to start that one. Is that something y'all noticed out on the track?
It's hard to tell 5%, really. Not really. I didn't anyway.
Well, you lock into Thursday night. How does it feel to get locked in and know that you have no pressure the rest of the week to make that event?
It is great. It's been a long time since I locked into everything on the first night, and it feels good. It feels real good.
Well, great run tonight, Jeff. Any sponsors you want to thank?
Yes, I forgot Epsilon Sprint Reps when I was up here for the Veterans Race. Can't forget them. They make the car look good. So Epsilon Sprint Reps, Malcolm Mills Mill Riding, and the U.S. Marines kart racing team. You guys for broadcasting everybody up makes this all worthwhile.
Well, congratulations, Jeff. That's Jeff Barker, our second place finisher. Throw it over to Victory Lane. Nicholas, you've got Mark Gilbert.
Hey, Mark, I believe this is the second time we're talking. It's got to be a really, really good feeling to know that you were able to improve on your starting position for Thursday night.
Yeah, Nick, this feels pretty good to be fast every once in a while.
So definitely congratulations on bringing home the win. Kind of walk us through your race. What were you expecting coming in? I think you started on the front row. So you had a decent starting spot here to start the 20-lap heat race. Were you a little nervous there at the beginning of the race? They changed the track state a little bit between the two heat races. So I guess another question is, were you able to kind of watch that last heat race and then bring over any information or any kind of lines that you wanted to try to run here early?
Yeah, so I did get the chance to watch that first one. It was I think they started that one at 15%. It was a pretty bottom-heavy race. I thought for sure with them changing it, even the 5%, that many cars on the track, the top would come in a little more, but it just didn't seem to. 1 and 2 a little bit, but 3 and 4, it just seemed like it was all marbles up there. So, we just kind of picked our line and ran to it, and I had Isaac in my ear the whole race, so that was helpful.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, congratulations on locking yourself into a better position for Thursday night. You got anybody you want to thank for bringing home the win?
Yeah, everybody at Venom Racing, RCP Cockpits, W Energy, and Mission 22, just for this event and everybody that puts it on. We'll go hop in this big block, see what we can do in there.
All right, well, good luck in the big block, and that is your winner, Mark Gilbert, here in the second heat race for the 358s.
So with that, 358 heat race number 2 comes to a close. We'll take one quick commercial break. We'll have our final heat race for the 358s coming up next here on Extreme E Speed TV.
History repeats itself. History is always happening over and over again. So one of the ways to stop a theme, one of the ways to stop something from reoccurring is to first of all admit it. It didn't take long for us to quickly realize that there was power behind Mission 22, power behind its brand, power behind its message, and power behind its people that represented it.
All right, my friends, day 19 of 22, the 22-day push-up challenge. Day 19 means 418 men and women have possibly committed suicide in the last 19 days. I went and looked up my ship, the USS Rushmore. More people who have killed themselves by now than ever served on our ship at one time in just 19 days.
19, 20, 21. One more. Y'all ready for the last one?
Mission 22 has become a decentralized nationwide effort to show love, to raise money, to be available for other warriors, to be able to be a point of contact, to let the warriors know, but also for warriors to let other warriors know that there is a community. You're not alone. This isn't happening in silence. You're not forgotten. We brought 4 veterans from all different parts of the United States and brought them together to hike through the state of Oregon.
May God bless you on your journey. Thank you for serving our country and for being willing to go on this walk. I'm praying you feel peace and strength with each mile.
On this hike, some folks found God, some folks remained sober, some folks lost a significant amount of weight to be able to participate. And not so much just a healing walk for us as warriors, but for us to contribute to other people's healing. this hike, we raised $12,000 for endobiogeny. Some of the folks on this hike, they're going to be volunteers for this treatment. And I couldn't be more pleased and more proud because it was difficult. We had a lot of struggles. Not everything on this hike went pretty, but we put some skin in the game. At the end of the day, we were able to raise money, and we'll be able to use that money so guys can get the treatment that they need. The War at Home Monument is an example of our social impact, of our awareness, of our permanent fixture to do the work that we can't always do, to always remind us of what we've lost and what we will lose if we don't reconcile it. What we've done is taken 20 different veterans with their families' permission and used them as a silhouette to cut out of a 3,000-pound plate of steel. These warriors are placed in a V, and this is to show the size of the problem. This is to show the empty space they leave behind. And it's also to be a constant reminder of what happens when we don't listen to the stories of the warriors that fought in our name.
Welcome back to the Dirt Track at Charlotte as our Super Dirt Week charity event continues on here. We have our third and final heat of the 358 modifieds, Nicholas. And really, we've seen some cautions here that have bunched it up. But with these 358s, it hasn't necessarily translated to opportunities for those second and third place cars.
Yeah, I think that last race we saw probably the closest finish we've seen in quite a while within Coast to Coast and within the charity events, there for that second place finish between, I think it was Barker and Shreves. So, here in the third heat race of the 358s, these guys I think have the best chance or the best opportunities for racing because they've been able to see the track state change between the first and second. And they've also been able to see all of the different lines that these guys are running to try to make up some ground and try to finish it within the top six to lock themselves in for Thursday night's main event.
Well, with that, we're going to get them lined up here on the front stretch, get ready to go green here in our third and final 358 modified heat race. Your starting lineup is going to look like this. Luke Hines next to Brennan Lacey. Third, Jeff Sharp alongside John Hine. Fifth, Marshall Dugan next to Stephen Goldner. Seventh, Cody Graham alongside Ryan Hunsinger. And rounding out your top 10, it's Pat Boyce alongside Randall Dixon. Starting 11th is going to be Steve Maurer next to Terry Landis. 13th, Mike Grandy alongside Neil Strausser. And those will round out the field with Colin Johnston. So with that, we've got 20 more laps here around this dirt track at Charlotte. Luke Hines will lead us to green. As you mentioned, Nicholas, top 6 will transfer on to that feature event.
Yeah, these guys are definitely in it to win it. These guys don't want to run that last chance qualifier. So whatever they can do to log themselves in tonight, I think we'll start seeing that.
So Hines and Lacey will lead us back to green here. Back to racing action here. The first green flag for this heat race number 3. And as expected, and as with those first two, I'm expecting that battle for the 6th transfer spot to heat up quickly there, Nicholas.
Yeah, same here. Can you, yep, I had to change my speakers. My headphones died, so if I'm too loud or too quiet, definitely let me know. But, yeah, these guys are definitely getting the cars warmed up and trying to figure out where they're going to head off into turn 1 to try to improve their position.
So a great a great field of cars here in heat race number 3. 20 laps. As our Catalytic Recovery Charity Event Week continues on here tonight. Green flag set to wave out of turn number 4. Hines and Lacey lead us back to racing action here at Charlotte.
Yep, 2x2 in turn 1. Let's see where they go in turn 3. we saw in the last race that the track state changed a little bit, but it looks like Hines got a really good run coming off of 2 there off the bottom.
Hines has a good jump there as Lacey and Sharp are side by side behind him. A big cluster of cars from John Hine in 4th on back, which includes that battle for the transfer spot. The front 3 will get it sorted out as they continue to battle from 4th on back.
Yeah, 3 wide there for the last transfer spot. It's really, really starting to heat up right there around the hot seat. And, these guys aren't holding anything back. They know if they don't make it tonight, they've only got one more opportunity.
So John Hine falls to 6th. Cody Graham 5th. Cody Graham currently holds onto that 6th and final transfer spot. He's got Hunsinger behind him in that 52, looking to his outside. Oh, around goes John Hine. The 08 of him got into that left rear, and the caution will wave.
Yeah, we saw that one live there. I noticed that John had moved to the bottom. Goldner made up a few positions there running the bottom the last couple of laps, and John moved down there and just found himself in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Well, it was all around that 6th and final transfer spot, and it was heated up quickly, as we mentioned. So looking to get stacked back up. 17 laps to go. As we look to get back to racing action. Hines, Lacey, Goldner, Sharp, Graham, Hunsinger, your front 6. They'll get lined up 2 by 2 for this restart, Nicholas.
And, still with the caution 4 laps in, side by side, it'll be really interesting to keep your eye on, I believe it is Lacey there in 3rd. Like I said, he was making up some really, really good ground there coming off the bottom of 2 and the bottom of 4. So we'll see if he's able to make up any ground there on Hines and Lacey.
So stacked up 2 by 2. Hines will take the green flag. Lacey to the outside. Goldner making a move to the inside.
Yeah, he's able to clear that spot there as well.
So the front 4 single file. That battle for 6th on back continues to heat up. Cody Graham currently in 5th, Hunsinger in 6th, Randall Dixon in that 111 trying to move up into a transfer spot with 14 laps to go.
Goldner and Hines are really running the same line. Lacey's running a few lanes higher than them, trying to get the momentum built back on the outside, but I think that bottom line is really, really dominant right now.
So they continue to battle on. Goldner holds on to that 2nd spot. Lacey looks to his outside. That's Graham and that 08 on the inside trying to move up. As each spot will improve your starting spot in that feature event on Thursday night.
Yeah, and it looks like, is that Hunsinger? Nope, that is Sharp, I believe, that is just outside the picture frame. And he's running quite a bit higher than the rest of the top 5. So, he's trying something different, trying to make up some ground. He knows he has a little bit of room back to Hunsinger, so he's trying things to try to improve his spot as well.
Lacey now looking to the inside of Goldner as they battle. The front 6 have broken away. Hunsinger is holding on to that spot over Dugan as it's still Luke Hines out front. 10 laps to go, 9 laps to go this time by.
Yeah, you see Goldner running way up near the wall. We haven't seen a car up there since one of the early qualifiers that we saw. I think it was a volunteer race with Reynolds run way up there.
Got lap traffic up ahead of the leader. You can see the front of the field single file as they continue. Hunsinger has Dugan now chasing him down. That could be a battle for that 6th and final transfer spot as we have 7 laps to go.
You know, the top 5 have broken away just a little bit, but, you know, it does appear that Dugan is pulling Hunsinger in.
The 111 also closing in that gap as we continue to watch that battle for 6. As now Hines has Lacey all over the back of him up front. It's now a 3-car battle for the lead.
Yeah, and Lacey's not getting any breaks from Goldner as well. You know, if Lacey makes a single mistake, Goldner's there to capitalize.
Lacey had to slow down momentum there as he had a great amount of speed entering turn number 2. He's going to have an attempt here on Hines as they make contact coming out of turn number 4. The battle for the lead is really heated up here late in this one with 4 laps to go.
Yeah, you know, if Hines didn't know he was there, he definitely knows he's there now. So, you know, if he's got anything left in the gas tank, he's going to have to try to make his car as wide as he can because Lacey's all over him.
Lacey using that outside line, or that middle line really, overpowers them. That was a great move by Lacey there through 3 and 4.
Yeah, he had to find a way around him. You know, he bumped him a little bit coming out of the corner trying to stay behind him, so he had to find a different way around him. You know, it appeared that Hines was running the line that Lacey wanted to run, but he was able to find it, and it's now the white flag last lap.
Last lap as Lacey is taking over. Goldner now using that outside line. Hines is having the threat of falling to 3rd here after leading a majority of this one. They'll come out of turn number 4. Lacey will win. Hines holds on to 2nd. Goldner to 3rd.
That was a really, really good race there. And I think we only had, 1 or 2 cautions, so definitely a lot of green flag racing and guys chasing for faster lines there at the end of the race.
Great race there at the end as the 358 heat race number 3 comes to a close. Lacey, Hines, Goldner, Sharp, Cody Graham, and Ryan Hunsinger will be your 6 transferring on. So with that, we will wait for our podium finishers to join us up here in the booth. And it looks like you have our 3rd place finisher, Nicholas, Stephen Goldner.
Steven, you got a copy?
Yeah, sure, I got you.
So what did you think there at the end of that race? You know, there was a lot of position swap there after that last caution that we had, and you know, it looked like you were trying to make the outside line work. We hadn't seen guys running that high in quite a few races, so you're just trying to find different ways around, trying to get the momentum and keep the momentum up in the 358.
Yeah, I think the momentum was good in 1 and 2. The 3 and 4 is a little long around. I think if I would have threw a little slider there on myself in 3 and 4, maybe I would have been able to get 2nd. But we'll take 3rd and move on to the next one. We got the big block coming up right now, so hopefully we can lock into that deal too.
Yeah, it's got to feel good to lock in here here in the first heat race, not have to worry about the last chance qualifiers. So with the laps here in the heat race, did you, I guess, learn anything that you're going to carry into Thursday night as far as the track state wearing in and knowing how long Thursday night's race is going to be? Are you anticipating anything different than what you saw out there tonight?
Not really. I mean, it seemed like everyone was patient tonight, which is good. I think everyone will be patient again tonight. Or I guess Thursday. So hopefully, we can just keep the nose clean and go forward.
Well, definitely congratulations on bringing home that 3rd place finish and locking yourself in. You got anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, I got to thank all the guys at Vanderbilt, Ross, Cronap, Lost Race Designs,
That's Perfect Photography, ABR Sub Shops, Moon Racing Engines, everyone on the team, you guys for the broadcast, and Roger and everyone for the league.
All right, that is your third place finisher. And then next we have Hines.
Luke Hines, our second place finisher tonight. Luke, you had that race in the lead the majority of that one. They're late. They came on fast and heavy. Was that a move you were expecting, or kind of walk us through that final battle for the lead?
I probably kind of lulled myself to sleep there. I was sticking to the bottom. I didn't really pay attention to anybody behind me, and they just kind of crept up there. He did a great job finding a little faster line late in the race there, and kind of deserves the win.
Was there anything once he got past you, you felt like you were going to be able to close that gap and get back up to try to return the favor?
I think if I would have moved up where he was at, we were just as fast or equally as fast. But we had another guy coming up behind us there, and I didn't really want to pinch him off too much. So it was just kind of a little too late, but we learned something. So we'll go to the big blocks and see what we can do.
Well, you do get locked in with that second place finish, so congratulations on that. Any sponsors you want to thank tonight?
I really like to thank Swan Speed Shop. They help us out quite a bit, and obviously just, people here and there that come on and we practice with and put a lot of laps in with are pretty critical to this deal. So, and obviously you guys for putting this deal on. It's a pretty important deal, and we're glad to be out here supporting it.
Well, congratulations, Luke. We'll see you in the big blocks here shortly.
Thanks, guys.
That's second place finisher Luke Hines, and now in victory lane, Nicholas, you've got Brennan Lacey.
All right, Brennan, you got a copy?
I got you, man.
All right, so kind of walk us through your race there. What were you thinking there at the very end? We saw a little bit of maybe some bump and run opportunities there on Hines, but it appeared that he was running the line that you felt you wanted to run and was fastest way around the track, but you were able to find another line. Kind of walk us through that.
Yeah, I knew after watching the first two heats that I knew the top groove wasn't going to be fully there where, I wouldn't mind it to be. So I knew if I could get in the moisture and then kind of cut it down, I found a cut down at warm-ups. I was like, let's see what this thing's got. And was able to go in there, and, it's just hard to pass down there when it's one lane at this place, especially when you have to have so much momentum in these. So I was just trying to carry as much as I could in. And the one time I finally got around him, he kind of got sideways off the corner. I was able to stick outside of him and drive up there and then close it down next corner. So that's really what did it there for me.
Well, definitely a really good finish here, bringing home the win in the third heat race. Locking yourself in for Thursday night's feature. Kind of explain to us, I guess, does that take a lot of pressure off of you knowing that you don't have to try to make it in through the last chance qualifier?
Yeah, it helps knowing that you're going to start somewhere up closer to the front too. But 75 laps was a long time, especially at this place. So it's going to be more one of those who can just survive and keep the car as clean as they can, and be there in the end. It's going to come down to about last 20 laps, I'd say 15 laps. But it's just going to be get a decent starting spot here. Hopefully, winning one will get me up there, and then we're just going to give it all we got come feature time.
Well, definitely congratulations for locking yourself in. Will we see you in the big blocks later tonight?
Yeah, I believe I'm Heat 2. The rest of the boys are in Heat 1, so it'll be fun to watch that one. There should be some excitement there.
Well, yeah, definitely. You can maybe they'll give you some pointers with how the track state wore in, and you can kind of get an edge up on the rest of the field there in the second heat race. So definitely, again, congratulations on locking yourself in. You got anybody you want to thank for getting you there tonight?
Yeah, big shout out to Bandy Build as always. Great group of guys there. Glad to see Golden lock himself in too there in third, and we got Moonin in. So it's a good show there. Beagle qualified in right off the bat, so that's good to see for our boys. But thanks to them. Big shout out to Ross Velocity Race Designs. Appreciate y'all coming on here, and glad to have you back there, Vicar. It's good to hear you up there in the booth.
Well, thank you. And again, that's your winner, Brennan Lacey, here in the third heat race for the 358s.
And with that, we are done with the 358 modified portion of tonight. As we move on, we'll have our big block modified heat race number 1. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, more heat racing action here for the Coast to Coast Racing League Super Dirt Week charity event supporting veterans and Mission 22. It's presented by Catalytic Recovery. We'll be back after this commercial break.
Yes, that's why. So we'll just give them a quick brush, and then we'll get our stuff on, and then we have like an obstacle course. And so
Why I'm smiling.
You don't know why you're smiling? We always smile. Smiling's the best.
The Mission 22 Equine Program is a riding program for children of veterans. We also serve grandchildren or direct family members of veterans.
It's a lot of fun, and I've always loved horses.
We have private lessons and group lessons, but it's not just riding. You know, riding lessons, people just think that that's all it is. But we have the opportunity here to really build confidence, to lower stress levels, to give them an outlet and opportunity to spend time doing something healthy and productive. Mission 22 is really based on the foundation of the importance for family. It's why we're supporting families here. So in a time where kids' programs are being canceled left and right, school is shut down, they're not able to be around their friends, you know, being able to have an opportunity where they can just be together and let go of that stress and be around people. Again, honestly, it's just really that simple, being around people. You know, who would have thought that it was something as simple as that?
That's okay. You want to grab his reins and then I'll have you walk him forward. It's really a special thing to watch these kids come every week and build a partnership and a relationship with their horse. It lets them forget about everything that's going on in life, being able to come here, kind of shut the world out a little bit and have a really stress-free, fun environment.
There's tons of studies that have been done on lowering of cortisol levels of children, and especially with children of veterans, often growing up in a household that can be a more stressful place, to be able to have an outlet where they can be outside, fresh air, horses around them, and just growing in that confidence.
Horses are really unique. They're very intuitive to people. They're very emotionally intelligent. They're very emotional animals, very in tune to people. They have a great way of reading people as well, that they can pick up on if you're feeling nervous or scared or excited. They're very reflective to how you feel. And so it's a great way to kind of check in with yourself and see how you're feeling, because they'll let you know.
When you're riding bareback, it's really important to think about keeping your thighs nice and snug.
Watch your spacing. Remember 1 to 2 horse lengths in between. Nice work. Yep, then you're gonna go through the blue barrels and you can lead through them and you can walk through them.
Before we came to Central Oregon, we were based out of Portland. So we were renting an office in the city, we were having to pay to board horses, and it was getting to be exceptionally expensive. And so what it came down to was an opportunity to have a facility that we could grow programs out, that we could have the equine program on our own property, that we can continue to operate during a time that nobody really knew kind of what was happening next. And so having our own facility gave us the freedom to continue serving the families that we care about.
It's so fun to see parents come and talk to each other, and being able to kind of share stories, watch their kids together is a really neat thing, talk about just life in general, having a place to come and to really connect with people.
Obstacles. I really like riding the horse because it's the best thing ever, and it's so exciting.
By supporting families of veterans on this property through the equine program, it really gives us the opportunity to show that importance. So we're not just supporting their kids, but we're supporting their families. They're having a community here, and building that strong family foundation builds a strong veteran. And that is something that we very much believe in, is supporting the family, supporting the veteran, and that cohesiveness together.
They say it's a matter of time, 1,000 days and the sun won't shine before I come back to you. For your love I will go far, I wanna be wherever you are. I know I'm coming back for you.
Brother, it's good to see you.
My love is a river long, the best ride in a million wrongs. I know I'm coming back to you. And I'm happy, nothing's going to stop me.
Welcome welcome back to the dirt track at Charlotte as we move on to our big block modified heat race number 1. Our latest portion of tonight's Super Dirt Week charity event. Presented by Catalytic Recovery. As we look to lock in 6 more drivers per heat race. Shout out to Nicholas Vickery. Thank you for joining us tonight. He'll be back in the booth tomorrow night and the Thursday night as well.
Hey, Travis.
John, how are you?
Well, not too good after that last race, but I'm better now that I'm talking to you.
Well, I'm glad I could help cheer you up.
Yeah, once you get out and have a cold beer and let some steam out, it all gets better.
Well, we're about to get started with the big block heat race number 1 here. Go through the starting lineup real quick. Brandon Templeton next to Mark Gilbert. Logan Wentz alongside Kurt Schatzer. 5th is Jeffrey Kemper next to Dylan Kinsey. Connor Ross alongside Harold Klump. Rounding out your top 10, it's Kyle Moonen next to Luke Hines. 11th, Stephen Goldner next to Tanner Purcell. Mike Grandy in 13th, and running out the field in 14th is Barry Goldner. So you've been out on the track here tonight, John. What kind of insights can you share with us as this first heat race gets underway?
Well, now these boys have a little more power than what we've been dealing with early on in the evening here, and the track has been really good. Roger and the boys have really kept the track racy. They keep reworking it after each session and everything else, and man, but look for this high side for these cars with this extra power, maybe to be a little more prevalent.
Yeah, we saw at times it was an advantage. Other times it didn't pay off as well as guys would have liked it to, especially after that first qualifier when guys realized that outside line was going to have some speed to get them to the front.
Yeah, and this car, you know, the other car is a more momentum car. This one here is more dictated on your right foot. So when you can use your right foot to get things done, that definitely opens options on the track.
Also, the other thing we've seen throughout these heat races, and you lived it, is the intensity around that 6th and final transfer spot.
Yeah, I mean, that's that's where it's at. I mean, and trust me, even though you're in the car and you're hyper focused on you're not running over a guy in front of you or banging into a guy beside you, you know if you're on that hot seat. You feel it and you just know. And you got to be patient when you get in that spot as the pace car goes off, Travis.
So we're about to go green here. It's Templeton and Gilbert leading us to the green flag here through 3 and 4. 20 laps in heat race number 1 big block modifieds. As they take the green flag down the front stretch here at Charlotte, it's going to be Gilbert on the outside with the lead into 1. Gilbert and Templeton remain side by side down the backstretch. Templeton with the advantage through 3 and 4 as they're side by side behind the leaders here early in this one.
Yeah, watching these guys. Oh, a checkup by Wentz, and that's going to create some havoc there. Kyle Moonen and a lot of guys involved, and that's going to bring us our first caution.
We'll take a look at that replay. Exactly as you called it in the moment. Wentz, little checkup, not enough time for anyone behind him to get it woed down.
No, and lucky for Wentz, it looks like he's going to get his spot back. I know iRacing's coming out with a big bill. Boy, this is one thing I do wish they'd fix. And no disrespect to Wentz or anything, but you know, if you're part of a caution, in real world, you go to the back. And I've been on both sides where, you know what, I got into somebody and, hey, I got my spot back and benefited. But I'll tell you, more times than not, it feels like you don't. So, man, that's, if any, you know, the big wigs at iRacing are listening, fix that.
We do have 40 people watching, so odds are maybe.
Yeah, and just so I don't get completely suspended, it's a great product. If you don't have iRacing, go out now and sign up. It's a lot of fun, and you get to work a ladder. You get to drive about any kind of discipline you want. You like the dirt, they have it. You like road racing, they have it. You like off-road racing, they have it. I mean, they got it all.
Speaking of, if you'd like to get involved in any of the charity races in the future or the Coast to Coast Racing League, check out c2crl.com for more information. And that pace truck dives on off over there on the backstretch, so we're going to get back to green here with 18 laps to go. Templeton, Gilbert will flip-flop. Here is now Wentz will restart third after getting caught up in that latest caution as we go back to green.
Wow, a lot of bumping and banging here right off the bat. You hit the nail on the head here, the intensity. You know, there's none of this, okay, let's just work guys over. It's all give, or all take and no give right now.
Watching that battle for that 6th spot, it's Harold Plump in 6th, but he's got Connor Ross all over his tail. Hines, who just won that 3rd heat for the small blocks, to his inside, slowly inching forward into a transfer spot.
Yeah, he did a good job in our heat there, and man, I'm watching this battle. Right now, I'm thankful I qualified for this sucker already, and I'm done. I don't have to worry about these nerves.
Well, that battle for 6th has quickly turned into a 5-car battle, as now Hines moves up into 6th, but he's still got Klump and Ross right behind him, as the 96 behind him looks to join the party as well.
Yeah, Connor is a teammate of mine, and got a couple of teammates lined up in this one here, and they both made the small block, and now they're trying to get into the big block race here. And there's a battle for 3rd too. I mean, as well as a transfer spot.
You saw Wentz got into the back of the 181 there. That'll disperse him back a couple spots. He's now in the 5th spot. All while Templeton is out front. Gilbert trying to chase him down, but this is the biggest lead thus far for Templeton, as he now has 12 laps to go.
Yeah, Templeton's a really solid driver in almost anything he gets in, but these and the late models are where he really shines when he gets behind the wheel.
And now 9 laps into it, really some space between some of the cars now. No side-by-side action currently, as Hines is settled into that 6th and final transfer spot.
Yeah, Connor wants it though, and like I said, both of these guys are keenly aware of what they're racing for that particular position.
As Templeton continues to lead, 9 laps to go this time by. The field has somewhat moved down to the inside of the track there. You see Gilbert drive across that middle line. And you can see Templeton continuing to lead now, single file, as there's a battle for 7th, but really front 6 are pretty content as they run here with 7 laps to go, John.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, one car on the move, though, is the 30 of Steven Goldner. Goldner has caught Connor and is actually passing him on the outside. He's really using the momentum there, that top shelf around the track. Now he goes to the middle after I say that.
But he does complete that pass on Connor Ross. And now he's got his sights set on Hines, who runs in that 6th and final transfer spot, as Goldner will scrape the wall down the backstretch. He's running out of time, only 4 laps to go.
Yeah, he is, and man, I think maybe he's gonna catch him, but catching a guy and passing him are two very different things. And now Hines looks like he might have a little internet connection because he is blinking.
3 laps to go, and we've seen that before. As Hines in that 6th spot, he's under attack from Goldner and now also Connor Ross.
Stevens there. I mean, 2 laps to go. He's got to run that momentum. I think he's got the spot.
That he does now, and now Ross is all over the back of Hines. As out front, Templeton will take the white flag. And the final time around, Brandon Templeton will pick up heat race number 1. Great battle behind them.
Wow.
As Goldner will make it all the way up to 5th. A heck of a last 10-lap run for that Stephen Goldner in the 30.
I think someone might need to tech his motor.
Always John Hine making sure that everything is legal out here on the track in the Coast to Coast Racing League.
Well, I've heard stories about what those motors are made up of, so I don't know. I'm always suspicious of those guys. But it's man, they're really good drivers, though. They, I don't know how many times I've been on the track behind them, and I've learned a lot. And I even gave them a nice little nudge at the end of practice in that last race. So we're good buddies.
So it's Templeton, Gilbert, Wentz, our podium. We'll talk to them shortly. Kemper, Goldner, Schatzer will be the 6 guys that transfer on. And with that, John, we've got our 3rd place finisher. It's Logan Wentz.
Hey, Logan, this is John. You got a copy?
I got you, John.
Hey, bud. Well, you're in. You made it to the show. You punched your ticket. Your first thought, how relieved are you of that one first?
Well, was really relieved. That was kind of a bit of a roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you had an eventful race. A little contact, I think it was in the 1st or 2nd lap there, and then a little more contact. Not that one of not your doing. A little bit later there, I think with 181, but you recovered nicely. And you said a roller coaster of emotions. Let me ask you, how did you come out of those peaks, and then, or better yet, how did you come out of those valleys to kind of get it back together enough to make that run at the end?
I don't know. These big blocks are just a little more my pace than the 358s. Just a lot more comfortable in them. I can find my pace a whole lot faster than I can in the 358s. It's just a fun car to run, and it's kind of all I've been running lately. So it's easier to fix my mistakes a lot faster.
Well, it has that extra power, and your right foot is a little more important. So, I mean, yeah, you drive both of those cars totally different. Well, I tell you, congratulations on making the show. We'll look forward to seeing you Thursday night now. Who would you like to give a quick shout out to?
I gotta give a shout out to Moreno Racing, Anthony over there. Capsule Time LLC, WGG, Epilepsy Foundation of America, and Dirt FX Designs for doing all my paints.
Awesome, buddy. Well, we'll look forward to, like I said, seeing you Thursday night. Best of luck Thursday, and we'll talk to you down the road, hopefully.
Thank you.
That's Logan Wentz, our 3rd place finisher in the first heat of the Big Block Modifieds. Travis?
Now joining us, our 2nd place finisher, it's Mark Gilbert. Mark, a great night continues on. You come away with a podium finish. 2nd place, what was the difference between you and that 31 up ahead of you?
I'm not sure, but he's got a hot rod.
So you lock yourself into the big blocks now. No stress here the rest of the week. What can you take away from tonight into that Thursday night 100-lap feature?
I hope we don't start with a 20% track state, because it gets that weird slick spot in the middle with the racing configuration there. It's tough racing on it.
Well, a good night and a great run here in the big block. Any sponsors you want to thank tonight?
yeah, all the guys over at Venom Racing. I couldn't do it without them, and RCP Cockpits, W Energy, everybody at the broadcast here. Thanks for what you guys are doing. And yeah, we're going to take tomorrow night off. Maybe see if any of the Venom guys are racing. Watch the broadcast, see what you guys are up to, and get ready to run Thursday.
Well, great run, Mark. We look forward to talking to you on Thursday night.
All right, you bet, Travis.
That's Mark Gilbert, your second place finisher tonight, now down in victory lane. John Hine has our heat race #1 winner.
Yeah, and I only have one question for him. Brandon, did you pass tech with that motor?
Well, I hope so. I blew it up in the grass, I think, so they're going to have a tough time checking it.
So that's the old clutch it and blow it up so they can't get it. Smart. But yeah, you grabbed a hold of that thing right from the get-go and kind of pretty much set sail. What was going through your mind when that caution came? Because that brought everybody right back to you.
Well, I just didn't really know what the track was going to do. I don't know if it was the changing it to 20% or whatever they did to the track state, but it was a little different, race than we'd normally had in coast to coast. There was a slick spot all through the middle just to start. So you had to stay, below it or above it just right off the bat. So that kind of led to me starting the bottom line. And that kind of helps me with the restarts. I didn't have to worry about clearing up in front of the outside car and just dig on the bottom and worry about hitting my own marks.
Well, you did a fantastic job, and now you've punched your ticket into Thursday. What is your thoughts going into that? Do you have any pre-race strategies you're thinking of? Are you going to practice between now and then? How are you going to approach that race?
It won't be any practice. I'll probably be doing a rain dance because I'm supposed to be at a track meet that night. So we'll see. But probably won't get to run it. Just thought I'd, jump in, support the deal, the coast to coast and the Mission 22. So it was cool to be able to run with it. Hopefully I can run Thursday, but no guarantees.
All right, my friend. Well, the floor is yours. Who would you like to give a shout out to?
I got to thank Jay with the Dirt Track Bank for supporting us in this crazy sim racing and real racing, all around the region, the Midwest. So thanks to him for everything he does. Check out dirttrackbank.com for some awesome online banking. And they give back to the racing community in a lot of ways. Mission 22, everything we can do to decrease that number is a good deal. Catalytic Recovery for stepping in and sponsoring this charity. HDR, Joe, Kurt, Brian, Extreme Images, Big C's Lawn Care, Maley's Makery, wife and kids for letting me do this. Extreme Speed TV, Travis and John, you guys for putting this on and announcing, and coast to coast, everyone watching at home, thank you.
Well, man, I hope I'm going to do a rain dance for you. We like to see you there on Thursday, but if not, best of luck at the track meet with whichever one of your youngins are running in that. So either way, I'm sure you'll have fun.
Yep, thank you.
Yep. That's Brandon Templeton, our winner of heat #1 in the Big Block Modifieds.
And with that, we'll take a quick commercial break. When we come back, our Super Dirt Week charity event week will continue on with our Big Block Modified Heat Race #2. You're watching the Coast to Coast Racing League here on YouTube.
I am Sergeant Clay Warren. I suffered from PTSD. In 2013, I ended my own life. Now my voice has been brought back to speak to people like me. Know that you're not the only one. Things can get better. You don't have to carry that burden anymore. Speak up now to get the help that you need.
22 veterans end their lives every day. You just heard the reconstructed voice of one of them. Seek help at mission22.com.
Yes, that's why. So we'll just give them a quick brush and then we'll get our stuff on, and then we have like an obstacle course. And so
Why I'm smiling.
You don't know why you're smiling. We always smile. Smiling's the best.
The Mission 22 Equine Program is a riding program for children of veterans. We also serve grandchildren or direct family members of veterans.
It's a lot of fun, and I've always loved horses. So.
We have private lessons and group lessons, but it's not just writing. Writing lessons, people just think that that's all it is. But we have the opportunity here to really build confidence, to lower stress levels, to give them an outlet and opportunity to spend time doing something healthy and productive. Mission 22 is really based on the foundation of the importance for family. It's why we're supporting families here. So in a time where kids' programs are being canceled left and right, school is shut down, they're not able to be around their friends, being able to have an opportunity where they can just be together and let go of that stress and be around people. Again, honestly, it's just really that simple, being around people. Who would have thought that it was something as simple as that?
That's okay. You want to grab his reins and then I'll have you walk them forward. It's really a special thing to watch these kids come every week and build a partnership and a relationship with their horse. It lets them forget about everything that's going on in life, being able to come here, kind of shut the world out a little bit and have a really stress-free, fun environment.
There's tons of studies that have been done on lowering of cortisol levels of children, and especially with children of veterans, often growing up in a household that can be a more stressful place, to be able to have an outlet where they can be outside, fresh air, horses around them, and just growing in that confidence.
Horses are really unique. They're very intuitive to people. They're very emotionally intelligent. They're very emotional animals, very in tune to people. They have a great way of reading people as well, that they can pick up on if you're feeling nervous or scared or excited. They're very reflective to how you feel. And so it's a great way to kind of check in with yourself and see how you're feeling, because they'll let you know.
When you're riding bareback, it's really important to think about keeping your thighs nice and snug.
Watch your spacing. Remember 1 to 2 horse lengths in between. Nice work. Yep, then you're going to go through the blue barrels and you can lead through them and you can walk through them.
Before we came to Central Oregon, we were based out of Portland. So we were renting an office in the city, we were having to pay to board horses, and it was getting to be exceptionally expensive. And so what it came down to was an opportunity to have a facility that we could grow programs out, that we could have the equine program on our own property that we can continue to operate during a time that nobody really knew kind of what was happening next. And so having our own facility gave us the freedom to continue serving the families that we care about.
It's so fun to see parents come and talk to each other, and being able to kind of share stories, watch their kids together is a really neat thing, talk about just life in general, having a place to come and to really connect with people.
Obstacles. I really like riding the horse because it's the best thing ever, and it's so exciting.
By supporting families of veterans on this property through the equine program, it really gives us the opportunity to show that importance. So we're not just supporting their kids, but we're supporting their families. They're having a community here, and building that strong family foundation builds a strong veteran. And that is something that we very much believe in, is supporting the family, supporting the veteran, and that cohesiveness together.
Welcome back to the dirt track at Charlotte as we move on to heat race number 2 for the big block modifieds here at Super Dirt Week charity event. Of course, thanks a lot to Catalytic Recovery, our presenting sponsor tonight, and all our partners throughout the week. And John, we've got another heat race with 6 more spots up to grab.
That's right, and which means 6 more or 20 more pretty intense laps for these guys, and they've seen the action all night. They know that everybody is bringing it. Everybody is on it. There's not a lot of give and take. It's just mostly take. You've got to change your mindset as a driver, Travis, and you've got to just be focused. You don't want to, you don't want to wreck anybody, and you don't want to cause any problems. But you've kind of gonna have to be a jerk in some places, I think, here. To just put your nose into maybe where you normally wouldn't. And to get these spots. So this will be interesting.
It will be interesting, and to your point, it has been, you get into some positions where it's definitely some more take than give.
Yeah.
So our starting lineup is going to look like this. It's going to be Dean Reynolds next to Cody Graham, Blake Chapman next to Alex Pomeloy, starting 5th, Samuel Bachman next to Brennan Lacey. Ryan Hunsinger next to Stephen Maurer, and row number 5 will be Dan McLaren next to Aaron Turkey. 11th, Mike Kramer next to Neil Strausser. 13th, Joseph Massau next to Terry Landis. And with that, they're lined up, ready to go. 20 more laps here for our second to last heat race of the night.
And I tell you, the guys at the back, your Landis, and right now you're sitting in your car looking about where that 6th position is and thinking, how do I get there? Those guys cannot really do any give. It's got to be all take. And like I said, you got to almost be a little bit of a jerk. Like I said, you don't want to wreck somebody. You don't want to cause any kind of big problems or cause, any kind of incident. But putting your nose in somewhere and forcing an issue, you almost have to in a scenario like this.
So they'll get lined up, ready to go. And our heat races continue here on Tuesday night, qualifying night here for the charity week. And looking down through the field, there's definitely some hungry drivers back in the pack that are going to try to get up into that top 6.
Yes, and here's the other thing too. You've got a lot of guys that normally don't run these, so there's a lot of guys in here that there's a lot of inexperience, and you don't know how. And the guys that are in these cars a lot, they don't know how to race around these guys, and all that stuff I think has come into play tonight at various points as we get ready to go green here.
Green flag waves. Dean Reynolds and Graham take us into the first corner as instantly that pack bunches up. Great battle there from 4th, Pomalu on back with Bachman and Lacey.
Yeah, and Lacey goes right up and kind of cleans the wall up a little bit. Doesn't really get into it, but it gets right up close to it. Gets a nice run coming out of 3, and now he's going to do the same thing down here in 1 and 2.
He's going to use it to try to move into that 5th spot, put some cushion on him from that transfer spot that he currently rides in. Dan McLaren in the 88.
Oh, we got contact in the back. Look like Maurer and Strausser, I think.
As Strausser gets going, caution will come out,
Mike
though.
Kramer was part of it.
Aaron Turkey. Looks like the 68 and the 888 got together there.
But, goes back to the lack of giving there. I didn't see a whole lot there. So hard racing, and hey, they get a faster pair, they'll get to try this again.
So 18 laps to go as we just were getting started here with this one. Dean Reynolds, Blake Chapman, Cody Graham, your top 3.
Yeah, I was talking to Cody just a few minutes ago, and Cody actually, up to a couple of years ago, I believe, ran these things in real life, or some kind of modified. So maybe I shouldn't say that too much, but he's a real world driver, so he knows these pressure situations, and I'm sure that probably a little bit of advantage for him, actually.
Additional seat time and any seat time, whether real or here in iRacing, probably an advantage.
Yes, and the guys that run these is what I've seen tonight. The guys that run these often are the guys that seem to be rising to the front of each one of these. They're the guys that qualified in the top 6 and everything else. So, yeah, these cars, of all the dirt cars, these and the other ones I think they're the 2 of the hardest cars to drive, and that includes the non-wing stuff, at least for me. These cars are just, I don't know, just there's something about them and getting them to hook up that's just tough.
Well, we go back to green. Dean Reynolds jumps out to the lead, but everyone behind him immediately goes into battle mode as they're 2x2. Lacey does scrape the wall that time through as he's trying to use that highest line to move up through the field.
Yeah, Brennan's obviously confused. He's up top. He's usually on the bottom. Really strong. Not how he gets down there.
Well, and he drives down there through traffic, so now he's down about second from the bottom line there, and he's moving up through the field. He's now up into that fourth spot, separating from that transfer spot.
And Brennan is one of those real world guys too, so they know. Oh, Terry Landis goes around after contact with McLaren. This is just two guys going for the same spot, and I think there was even a little netco the way Terry's car jumped around there. I mean, there was contact, but I think netcode kind of helped it all. Still cannot believe the size of this field of all the charities that we've done. I think this is the biggest turnout. So congrats to everybody that's been a part of this. It's been amazing. But man, when I got into that server earlier tonight where the qualifying went, I think there was 53 guys in there. I mean, just incredible. Yeah, and then max is at 60. We would have had to do two different things if we would have pushed it up in that. But man, it just really cool to see everybody come out for Mission 22. Still can get in it if you need to. A few spots left anyway for the soup, but c2crl.com, that's the place to go to do that.
So the pace truck dives on off over the backstretch there. Got 15 laps to go, and we're about to go back to green. As Dean Reynolds leads us to green, 2x2 behind him. Alex Pomeloy peeks to the inside of Blake Chapman, but he'll settle back in as they head in. And Lacey jumps right back up to that outside line.
Yeah, he sure does, and that is not something I would predict. If I was up there behind him, I'd have to kind of look twice to make sure that's his car up there. But Brennan, he can honestly though, he can run anywhere. He's another one of those, like I said, as a real world driver. He knows where to hunt for a fast line, and he's got the discipline and the talent to make it work if it's there.
So watching that battle on, that's from Cody Graham on back. Lacey to his outside. Chapman continues to try to track down Dean Reynolds up front. But really the battle is from fourth on back. As you see Hunsinger in that 52, he's currently in that sixth and final transfer spot as he has Massau and Bachmann all over the rear of him.
Yeah, you know, we've seen this, you know, that when I first came on board here tonight, you talked about that sixth position and just how intense it is, right? This one here is really living up to that billing. This final transfer spot is heavily contested in this one.
Still contested here as we've got 9 laps to go now, single digits, as now Bachmann's making a move on Hunsinger for that sixth and final transfer spot.
Using two different lines too. You know, you've got Hunsinger on the top, you've got Bachmann on the bottom here. And Travis, I am not seeing one lane really have more an advantage than the other. This is coming down to driver style and how they use their throttle pedal.
Well, they continue to battle there. Bachmann all the way to the inside. Hunsinger moves up. Bachmann will be able to move slightly in front at the line there. But they're both making up ground on Alex Pomeloy, who's right up in front of them.
Yeah, and last time they're at the line, Bachmann had a little bit of advantage, but I think Pomeroy is holding up Bachmann a little bit, and that's what's allowing Hunsinger to get those runs on the outside. But Pomeroy goes up to the top here. Let's see if Bachmann can get his nose in here down here in 3 and 4 and force Pomerleau to the top.
Pablo stays up. Hunsinger does get into the back of him. That'll slow down his momentum as now Bachman will move into that sixth and final transfer spot. Up front, it's still Dean Reynolds. Lacey's moved into second. Chapman into third. Neil Strasser has pulled off into the pits.
The battle for the lead. I don't think Lacey's content with just running second. He's all over the back of Dean Reynolds.
He's up against the wall in 3 and 4, looking to use that momentum. 3 laps to go as Dean Reynolds will cut off that momentum in 1 and 2 as Brennan Lacey continues to try to chase down that 79.
Meanwhile, the battle for 6 it's really heated up.
Blake Chapman looks to the inside of Lacey as now this is a 3-car battle for the lead with 2 laps to go. Bachman's moved into 6th, Hunsinger into 7th as they are in the final transfer spots. Bachman currently in as the white flag will wave. Lacey will look to the inside of Dean Reynolds through 1 and 2. Slide job up out of turn number 2.
Oh, and into the wall. That's what you call sending it. Oh, there's contact between Bachman and Pomerleau. Is that going to open the door for Hunsinger?
Bachman, Pomerleau will hold on. Hunsinger will be the first man out. Pomerleau will transfer. Bachman 5th, Graham 4th, Chapman 3rd, Lacey 2nd, and Dean Reynolds will be your winner in heat race number 2. Well, that was exciting to say the least, John.
Absolutely. That had a lot of action. I feel sorry for you. You're the one with controlling cameras. You need about 6 different cameras to all work at once.
Let's just say I try not to complain about Fox's coverage because it's harder than it looks. So Dean Reynolds will be our winner. We'll have the front 3 join us here. As it looks like, John, you've got our 3rd place finisher, Blake Chapman.
I do. Blake, man, those last couple of laps got interesting. What more did you need to maybe sneak out a win there?
I think I just needed to go to the top sooner. I tried it out that one time in 3 and 4, and turns out 1 and 2 was a better turn to be up high. So I just chose the wrong corner to go up high, and I think if I would have stayed up there and tried to build my momentum up a little bit, might have had something for Dean. But don't want to race too aggressively up front when we all got transfer spots locked in.
Very, very smart there on that front. Well, I tell you, that punches your ticket, and Thursday night race is 100 laps. What are your thoughts about that, and what are you going to do to get ready for a race like that?
Yeah, just work on running these things in a slick track, getting the feel for it. I remember running it last year, the 100 laps. It's a workout. Hopefully we get some cautions in there spread out, but it should be a lot of fun. It was a really good show last year, and hopefully it'll be just like that again this year.
Well, congratulations again on punching your ticket. The floor is yours, my friend. Who would you like to give a shout out to?
Shout out my parents for watching tonight, all the boys down at the Krite Sim Racing Team and the Can-Am Racing Team. Of course, I got to give a shout out to Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. Head over to their website, use code CART, C-A-R-T, at checkout for 15% off some of their delicious popcorn. And I got to thank you guys for putting this on.
Well, thank you, Blake. And man, the Galen's popcorn. I'm telling you, that's addicting stuff. So,
oh, yeah.
Well, my friend, we'll see you Thursday, and good luck in that race.
Thanks, Sean.
You're welcome. That's Blake Chapman, our 3rd place finisher. And Travis, I think you've caught up with the 414 of Brennan Lacey.
Brennan Lacey, who was exciting to watch make his way up through the field. Walk us through that night and your movement all over the track to get up there.
Oh, we were trying, boys. We were trying. Let me tell you. I had Goldner up in the ear, like, yeah, I don't know, try this. Let's go there. And then I got to the top. He said, yeah, let's just eat that. Let that thing eat. So we went up there, and Dean did a heck of a run there. As soon as I went into turn 1, I was telling him to throw that slider. I was like, yeah, I'm done. I threw it way too hard. But, a little impatience got to me there. But that was exciting as all get out.
Was there anything you had left? We saw you make, obviously using that outside line. At one point, you cut all the way across to the inside down the back stretch. Was there anything you could have done to get up to Dean and complete a pass?
Oh yeah, I just needed more laps, really. I mean, these tracks pretty one lane, I would say, until it gets ran in, and luckily enough, it starts to come in later in these heats. But it's really going to set up for a great, exciting race on Thursday. I know that the final in these things are going to be fun because it's going to be multi-groove for sure, especially when it gets real slick. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, I think it was just come down to laps. But I mean, all to Dean. That dude put on a heck of a run there.
Well, great run. It was a ton of fun to watch, Brennan. Any sponsors you want to thank tonight?
Yeah, big thanks to Bandy Build as always. Big shout out to Goldner for staying in there after he had a great run up there and qualified in the first one. So lucky enough he was there to help me lock in. Shout out to Ross Velocity Race Designs, Moon and Racing Engines for making these things bad fast, and appreciate you boys for coming on for this late night. I know it's a long one, but having a great time going back and look at it.
Well, that is our second place finisher tonight, the 414 of Brennan Lacey. And John, it looks like you have our winner in victory lane. It's Dean Reynolds.
I do, and listening to that interview, now I know why Lacey was running the top side. He had Goldner in his ear, so that makes total sense now. But we've got Dean Reynolds, and Dean, you parked it, man.
Well, thank God I had Isaac Salas in my ear. So he was like, Dean Lacey is running like crazy on the top. And I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me! Now he's good at modifieds, Jesus. So yeah. I owe Isaac that one there, and it was funny. We were talking in the room there, and Lacey goes, "Isaac told you to go up there, right?" I go, "Hell yeah, he did." So, but it was fun. It was good. John, the 20% track really kind of changes the deal. That slick spot in the middle is a lot wider than normal. I really didn't know where to run. Tell you the truth.
Yeah, we've talked to a few people, and it's thrown quite a few people for a loop here, and yeah, it does. And you know what though, it's the same for everybody, and I think it actually made these races a little more interesting here, because at 15 it was really locked down until like the last 5 or 6 laps. So you guys were racing all over the place, but let's shift gears now though. You punch your ticket into Thursday. That is a 100-lap race. What is your mindset going into that, and how are you going to get ready for that?
Well, as old as I am, I hope I don't have to go to the bathroom in the middle of it. So that's the first thing I got to worry about. So, but
there are things to take care of that. I mean,
but last year, John, as a matter of fact, I think me and you ran a lot together in that 100-lapper last year. You just don't know where you're going to get. I remember last year, too. Didn't we have like a 38-lap string of green flag racing in the middle? I remember I started third. I fell back to 10th, but I got back up to 6th. So, and I don't know how or why, I can't really remember, but with 100 laps, that track's going to change. It's going to be low and middle for the start. Then it's going to get top dominant, and then it's going to be sliders. It's going to be cut down. It's going to be all over the place. So, you want to be there at the end. That's the main thing at first, but you don't want to have the leaders too far ahead of you in case you do get that green flag stint at the end. So, but that's what's cool about these long distance races. A lot of us don't run them a lot, and it's all new territory, especially when you run 30 laps every time with coast to coast.
Yeah, I agree. I'm in a couple of other series where we run 200, and I know another one where we do everything from 100 to 75. We kind of bounce around, and yeah, the longer races, definitely a different discipline and mindset, actually, even though you're driving the same car. So
yeah,
that's why I asked the question. Is kind of wondering how are you going to get in the mindset for it, and are you going to take a track and run it in, or are you going to just go 100% slick in practice, or you just going to roll the dice and let her roll on Thursday?
I won't even practice. I'll just come in and just do. It's funny because I do get a little bit tired here and there and stuff like that. And I was telling the guys, I just do 20 laps of practice and then I go right to the race. That's all I do. And I kind of outthink myself if I do too much practice, and I just let it roll. And now that I've gotten to race a little bit more, it's my second year of racing. In iRacing, I can read the tracks now, and that's the key, is reading the tracks and knowing where to go and what to do. And that's what's helped me a little bit, even in coast to coast in a 30 lapper. I kind of know where the track's going to do. So I'm just going to get in and, roll it and give it a shot.
I hate to break your heart, but there's a build coming that's going to reset all that for you.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's good or bad, because I've turned into like you and Isaac and stickers. Isaac told me if you want to get the next level in speed, you got to run the top. And now I'm a top guy. I'm hard on the gas. I run it hard. But I don't know if that's good or bad with the new update in June because it's supposedly tire wear. But when you do run the top, there's a cushion there that should keep your tires cool. So I don't know if it's going to be an advantage or not because you've got more wheel spin, how it's going to work. But you know what? That's the fun part of dirt racing. That's why I like it.
Yes, absolutely. Well, my friend, congratulations again. Hopefully you'll be back up here talking to us Thursday night, behind me, of course. Who would you like to give a shout out to here for your win?
Well, I like to say thanks to the guys from Venom. They invite me in their Discord, and thanks to all of them, and especially to Isaac. He was coaching me in that race there a little bit. I run a mirror, but I don't look in it, and he was just telling me where to go, and he told me what race he was doing. So I got to thank them. I forgot to thank him in the first one, but I got to thank Brian Lawson for these awesome raps. I always do. I like to do a tribute rap when in these charities, and we're racing for a great charity, Mission 22, and as I said earlier, I hope they changed the name to Mission 12 or Mission 7 or Mission 4. So hopefully we can help out the veterans that are having a hard time. And that's what's great about this charity. And then, I'd like to thank Travis for doing the telecast, and John, you do for the color. And of course, Roger for, taking my lead on how to run Super Dirt Week and go from it. This is, this is really how Super Dirt Week is run. 20 lap heats, 20 lap last chance showdowns, and long distance features. So, we're having a ball doing it. So thanks to everybody.
Absolutely. That's Dean Reynolds, our winner for, I think, heat number 2. We got one more to go, Travis.
One more to go here on the Coast to Coast Racing League Network. That means one more commercial break. When we come back, we'll have heat race number 3 of our big block modified portion of tonight. You're watching the Coast to Coast Racing League Network.
Yes, that's why. So we'll just give them a quick brush, and then we'll get our stuff on, and then we have like an obstacle course. And so
Why I'm smiling.
You don't know why you're smiling. We always smile. Smiling's the best.
The Mission 22 Equine Program is a riding program for children of veterans. We also serve grandchildren or direct family members of veterans.
It's a lot of fun, and I've always loved horses so much.
We have private lessons and group lessons, but it's not just riding. Riding lessons, people just think that that's all it is. But we have the opportunity here to really build confidence, to lower stress levels, to give them an outlet and opportunity to spend time doing something healthy and productive. Mission 22 is really based on the foundation of the importance for family. It's why we're supporting families here. So in a time where kids' programs are being canceled left and right, school is shut down, they're not able to be around their friends, being able to have an opportunity where they can just be together and let go of that stress and be around people. Again, honestly, it's just really that simple, being around people. Who would have thought that it was something as simple as that?
That's okay. You want to grab his reins, and then I'll have you walk them forward. It's really a special thing to watch these kids come every week and build a partnership and a relationship with their horse. It lets them forget about everything that's going on in life, being able to come here, kind of shut the world out a little bit, and have a really stress-free, fun environment.
There's tons of studies that have been done on lowering of cortisol levels of children, and especially with children of veterans, often growing up in a household that can be a more stressful place, to be able to have an outlet where they can be outside, fresh air, horses around them, and just growing in that confidence.
Horses are really unique. They're very intuitive to people. They're very emotionally intelligent. They're very emotional animals, very in tune to people. They have a great way of reading people as well, that they can pick up on if you're feeling nervous or scared or excited. They're very reflective to how you feel. And so it's a great way to kind of check in with yourself and see how you're feeling, because they'll let you know.
When you're riding bareback, it's really important to think about keeping your thighs nice and snug.
Watch your spacing. Remember 1 to 2 horse lengths in between. Nice work.
Welcome back to the dirt track at Charlotte as our third and final heat for the big block modified division is about to get underway. And after a great set of racing here with the big blocks, John, expect nothing less with this third and final heat race.
Yep, the intensity is going to pick right back up where we left off on that last heat race, I would imagine here. And this is a last one of the night, too. And I think there's something about that, too, that amps everybody up a little bit more, too.
Well, we have 6 more spots available and up for grabs here in this heat race. So it'll be interesting to see who can take advantage of it and who will move on to that Thursday night feature event. 100 laps here for the big block modified division. As you see Ryan Beagle out there, he's currently the fastest out on the tractor in this warm-up session that's coming to an end. And John, for old time's sakes, I'll let you go through our starting lineup.
All right. Well, full time's sake, what, couple weeks? But, anyway, here we go. It's going to be on the pole. It's going to be the big dog. That's going to be the number 84, Ryan Beagle. To his outside will be the number 9. That's Brian Lawson. Starting in the second row is going to be the 011. That's Kelly Wheeler. To his outside is going to be the 014 of G.J. Boydell. Starting fifth will be Gary Sigelkow. To his outside, starting sixth will be Sean Green. Starting seventh will be the 111 of Randall Dixon, and to his outside will be the number 56 of Randy Shreves. Starting ninth will be Bob DeGood, and to his outside will be Pat Boyce in the number 41. Jacob Massau will occupy the 11th spot on the starting grid, and 12th will be Jonathan Krupa. And rounding out your field here is going to be Colin Johnston, and I see Roger Craig, but I think he might be admitting on this one.
I believe so. So we will get ready to go here with heat race number 3. As the top 6 will transfer on, we've got 20 laps around this dirt track at Charlotte. And really, John, we've seen all night that battle for that 6th and final transfer spot is something heated up the entire 20-lap event.
Yeah. And this one here, I'm telling you, there's a lot of guys in here that normally are not with us on Thursday nights when we run the big blocks. I mean, you called enough of those races. There's a lot of names that I don't know who they are. And as a driver, you know, if you're on there, that in itself raises the intensity a little bit because you just don't know what to expect.
That indeed. So we will get ready to go here as they get prepared to go green. Ryan Beagle, Brian Lawson, green flag will wave. Beagle will have the advantage going off into turn number 1. As the 11 of Wheeler falls back into the grips of Boydell here early. As they're clean through 1 and 2, head off into 3 and 4 for the first time.
As they come through 1 and 2 here, Beagle has stepped out about a car length, but yeah, this is going to sound like a broken record. It is heating up for that 6th and final transfer spot.
It's Shreves currently holding down that spot, but you can see the 111 of Dixon now will take the advantage on the exit of turn number 2. They're side by side up ahead of them. That's Green and Wheeler. As out front, it's Ryan Beagle leads Brian Lawson.
Boy, they are really going at it, though, behind those top 3. Everything from 4th on back is really being contested here. And we've heard guys talk about, you know, the slick there on corner entries from the get-go, and it's catching a lot of these guys by surprise. And but I think it's just putting on good racing here. It's kind of equalized from what I'm seeing, the top and the bottom.
Really is. As you can see, there's plenty of battles throughout the field. The front 3 have broken away. Then you go to 4th on back, and there's a cluster of cars as our first caution waves, as it's Jacob Massau involved. So our first caution flag of the night.
shouldn't take long here. 6 laps in, and they're going to double them back up now. And guys have gotten a few laps here. And what's going to be the big thing here is we've seen top and bottom. Well, there's some guys that really like the bottom. There's some guys that really like it up on the top. Well, if you get pinned down to the bottom here, you're going to have to make it work. Or if you're up top and you like the bottom, you're going to have to make that work too. So this can shuffle a lot of things here up in the front, especially around that vital 6th place position.
So they'll get lined back up, ready to go. Double file restart here. 15 laps to go, 14 laps to go once they take the green flag. Beagle will jump out to a great start there. Boydell looks to the inside of the 27 of green, as currently it's Dixon in that 111 in that 6th and final transfer spot.
And Dixon got a really good start there compared to Shreves, so Shreves now is going to have his work cut out for him, but they're like 3 and almost 4 wide coming out of turn 2.
So
if they know that they're in a transfer spot, they probably should be taking risks like that, and at least not on lap 8.
Dixon holds on to that final transfer spot as Shreves continues to try to chase him down, as Dixon falls behind further from that 5th place spot. Out front, it's still Beagle Lawson as there's 11 laps to go.
Travis, I will tell you too, being on the track earlier and doing one of these heat races, that 20 laps goes by rapidly because we're used to running 30-lap features and stuff like that, so, and 8-lap heat races. So your internal clock, this just goes by way quicker than what I think what it actually does.
Well, we're quickly down to 9 laps this time by single file for the most part, besides G.J. Boydell, who currently runs in that 5th spot. Transfer spot right behind him, looking to the inside, as that would push Boydell to that 6th and final spot, which has been a treacherous spot to be.
Treacherous spot, and even having that cushion, so if you get up to 5th now, there is a little sense of relief behind that wheel because you've got that buffer. But Boydell's in trouble on that high side, which is almost the opposite we saw that last heat. That last heat we saw the fastway be all the way up top, but all these guys are primarily running the bottom with the exception of the leader who is checked out. You would think that some other guys are looking where Ryan is running and go up there. And if you look at where Ryan is running, he's got those tires on that wet stuff up there. And the fact that he's up there by himself, it's not wearing away. So what a big advantage.
As he moves down to the inside, but you can see the lead over 1 second. He's got 4 laps to go. Brian Lawson leads the line of cars next as Shreves has moved into that 6th and final transfer spot. He's looking to the outside of 111 of Dixon as he tries to put some space between he and Boydell.
Yeah, Boydell is definitely falling back from those front 6 guys. So, they just got to try to make sure you bring it home. I mean, if I'm in Randy's position and I realize where he's at, I'm just holding the steady line and making sure that gap doesn't close.
So 2 laps to go. You can see the front 6 continue. Shreves looking to the inside of Dixon for 5th. Coming out of turn number 4, though, it's Ryan Beagle. He'll get the white flag. 1 more lap to go here in heat race number 3. And out of turn number 4, Ryan Beagle will win heat race number 3. The battle for 6th will go to Shreves. So the final 6 to transfer will be Beagle, Lawson, Green, Wheeler, Dixon, and Shreves. And with that, John, we will talk shortly to Green, Lawson, and Beagle, your podium finishers tonight.
Yeah, that one there was pretty straightforward compared to the other ones, but man, if you don't finish in 6th, Greg Boydell, I mean, the consolation prize is going to be he's going to be sitting pretty in the alphabet soup. So not all is lost there. He's got some work to do between now and Thursday to make sure he has a pace to stay up where he's at for that consi.
So with that, we'll wait for our 3 finishers, our podium finishers here, to join us up here in the booth. As it's Ryan Beagle, your winner in heat race number 3 here for the Big Block Modifieds. And John, it looks like you have our 3rd place finisher, Sean Green.
I do. Sean, this is John. You got a copy?
Yes.
Well, Bud, you punch your ticket to Thursday. We don't normally see you here in C2C. Give us a little bit of background.
No, this is my first time racing over here. Dean Reynolds actually invited me over. I race Wednesday nights over in Mud Puppy. We do 358 fix setups, and that's what I usually do on Wednesday nights. But he's been running over there with us, and he invited me over. So I thought it was for a good cause for the veterans and stuff like that. So I figured I'd come over and have some fun with these guys.
Well, we're glad to see you over here. You had a real nice run here, and I've been asking guys all night now. This was the easy one, the 20 lapper. Thursday night is going to be 100. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough one. We've done a few 100-lap races over to Mud Puppy, and it's challenging. You gotta race your race, be patient, and have fun, and just respect the guys around you.
Well, you did a great job tonight. We look forward to seeing you Thursday. Hopefully, we get to talk to you again Thursday night. And right now, the floor is yours, man. And who would you like to give a shout out to?
I would like to thank Dean, obviously helping me out and just spotting for me there a little bit. And I'd just like to thank my sponsors, Ultra General Store, stuff like that, and Team On Designs for doing the car for me. And that's about it.
Awesome, bud. Well, good luck on Thursday night, and hopefully it's not too much of a hard race for you. 100 laps, it is a long time.
It is, yeah.
All right, buddy. Well,
Thanks.
We'll talk to you later. And that's a Sean Green, our 3rd place finisher in the big block in the 3rd heat race. Travis, I think you've caught up with Brian Lawson.
Brian Lawson, our 2nd place finisher tonight. Walk us through that, and what was the difference between you and Ryan in trying to chase him down?
I know how good Ryan is. He races in real life a lot up in Canada, and he's really good. So I was going to be happy finishing 2nd, but the line that he was taking, which I tried for a little while, which seemed to be the line that was working all night in the other heat races, was going high in 1 and 2, and then low in 3 and 4. And all of a sudden, I saw Sean kind of coming to my inside, so I went down low, at both ends, and I kind of pulled away from him, and just kind of seemed comfortable down low, but wasn't really catching Ryan, and was, like I said, was very content and happy to finish 2nd.
Well, it was a great run tonight. You transfer into that one of those transfer spots into Thursday night. Looking ahead to that 100-lap feature event, what are you looking forward to? What are you maybe seeing as a challenge that night?
Looking forward to the whole thing. Hopefully everybody shows a lot of patience, because it is a long race. Both of them are long races, and you got to be there at the end. But just looking forward to doing it, man. I love events like this.
Well, great run tonight, Brian. Any sponsors you want to give a shout out to tonight?
Absolutely. You guys for putting on the broadcast coast to coast, for doing such a great job. My guys in Venom Racing, couldn't do this without them. Dean, Super Dirt Car Series, Magnum Race Design, and last but not least, Mission 22. They do an awful lot and for our veterans. So, donate if you can, and support them every way you can.
Thank you, Brian. That's Brian Lawson, your 2nd place finisher, now down in Victory Lane. John, you've got Ryan Beagle.
I do. The big dog is in the house, and Ryan, you stunk up the show, bud.
Yeah, I like this place right now in these things, and wish I could have qualified a little better, but it is what it is. I'm glad we could pick up the heat race win.
Well, did you learn anything that you think will transfer over to Thursday, or the fact that that's 100 laps is just a whole different beast?
I think the track will be similar at the start of the race as it is right there. So you learn a little bit on where you got to run and where you might be able to make a move. But other than that, it'll be a different ball game Thursday.
Well, when that caution came out too, did you have any worry that okay, this could get interesting, or did you know you just had this thing under control?
You never know. There's always that chance that something could happen. So you just kind of got to try to get away in that first corner, and from there you just kind of get in a rhythm and hope it all works out.
Well, then I guess the final question I'm gonna have for you: you think all that speed comes from the Moonin motor in there, or do you think it's, or do you think it's that special Canadian blend fuel that's high octane?
Well, I think it's the cheese beans that Lacey was talking about earlier. Gave me some extra oomph there to pull away like that. I never heard what cheese beans were before, but I guess they're deep fried cheese curds. I've never heard of that. I can't believe
deep
it.
fried cheese. Okay, yeah, that's a big thing in Wisconsin, and
yes, we don't have those in Canada, and I'm shocked.
Well, but you guys got poutine fries.
Yeah,
so I would rather.
That.
Yeah, I would rather have that than the cheese curds. But yeah, my family likes the cheese curds, but poutine. We throw bacon. We throw bacon on our poutine, though.
Oh yeah, we do that once in a while. Yeah.
Yeah. So this interview is completely off the rails. People either getting hungry or they're turning the channel. So with that said, man, who would you like to give a shout out to here for the final one of the night?
Just everybody puts this deal on. It's fun to come and race with you guys like this for a charity event like this.
Awesome, my friend. Well, we look forward to seeing you Thursday, and hopefully you have a good run there and finish behind me. Anyway, that's hopeful. So anyway, yeah, I'll see you Thursday night, man, and congratulations again.
Thank you.
That's Ryan Beagle, 84, and he parks in Victory Lane for the third and final heat of the night. And Travis, that is going to bring our night to an end.
Qualifying night will come to an end in the Coast to Coast Racing League in Cadillac Recovery. Chris Yacklin Memorial Super Dirt Week is underway. We'll be back tomorrow night, Wednesday night's Last Chance Showdown and Pole Scramble, and then I will be back with Extreme E-Speed TV, Andy and Nicholas Vickery on Thursday night for championship night. 358 modifieds, 75 lap championship feature. Big block modifieds, 100 lap championship feature. For Nicholas Vickery, for John Hine, I am Travis Pearsall. We thank you for tuning in, and we thank you for watching. You've been watching the Coast to Coast Racing League.
This copyrighted broadcast of Extreme E-Speed TV Network is intended solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without express written consent of the Extreme E-Speed TV Network is strictly prohibited. We hope you've enjoyed this broadcast.